Hey, and welcome back to the Wicked Wild podcast. This is our finale, the big one, the ending of Camp Wicked Wild. It's bittersweet, but you are here. This is a feral podcast for the uncivilized horror fans, and we've had a blast through October looking at our Year of the Wiener contestants for Camp Wicked Wild. Want to welcome you back to help us finalize everything there. And as we were looking and putting this together, there is literally only one way you finalize a Camp Wicked Wild that's based on Year of the Wiener, and it's with Sleepaway Camp. And there's only one person that we would want to have this conversation with, and it's our good buddy and regular contributor to the podcast, Miss Caitlin Grant from Plug It Up Podcast. How's it going, Caitlin?
It's going great. I'm so excited to be here.
And this is going to be a fun one. So, we were talking earlier today, and you had mentioned that you are quite an experienced connoisseur of sleepaway camps. Like that was your youth. You know this experience very well. So I didn't want to ask at the time because I wanted to save it for the podcast. But do you have any like favorite stories or strange things that happened in any of your sleepaway camps that you'd want to share with our audience?
Yeah, so both my parents always worked, and in the summertime, my brother and I would like go to as many camps as we could, because it's just like, got to put these fucking kids somewhere.
Yeah, free daycare.
Day camp or then overnight camps. And eventually I got into academic camps because as much as I love camp vibes, I'm not much of a camper. It's just not, I just don't have that steel. I'm not fortified enough to do it.
It's not fun.
There are things I like about camp, but camping is hard for me. So I eventually switched to academic camps. But when it was still like outdoorsy, rugged camps, I remember there are two Girl Scout camps in Virginia. One is Camp Pamunkey, and it's for the younger girls. And then there's Camp Kittamaquond, which is for the older girls. And when I made the switch from Pamunkey to Kittamaquond, it was game. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was like latrine style toilets where it was just like into the ground. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I remember I went and there was a girl who was like so grossed out by the latrine style toilets that she was peeing in the sink. And I was like, we have to brush our teeth in there. And I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm done.
Yeah. And then like very, very, very cold showers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my daughter, Caitlin, my Kate, when she did Girl Scout, camps, her big experience when she graduated to the older camp was having to run and not literally kill them, but you had to run out all the wolf spiders in the shower before you could use the shower because they were everywhere. So,
well, and we had like mosquito netting that you had to bring. It was on your packing list to put mosquito netting over your it wasn't even a cot because it was like you just had a sleeping bag, but like a little platform area. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, like it just spiders found their way in. We probably hung it wrong. I don't know. But I was always like, but we did get cleanest cabin. I remember getting that. Mm-hmm.
I can see that. You're a fastidious person. You don't mess around.
Put it under your, shove it away. Put it away. And I remember my birthday's in the summer. So I was always at camp on my birthday, which was like both fun and,
Well, and we've known each other a long time, and you may not be a Capricorn, but you have some Capricorn tendencies. Like you need shit put away properly. You need things.
I love an earth sign. I do. I like order.
There you go.
I just feel things really intensely. That's a water sign.
Well, before we get into our review, I do want to introduce the rest of the crew. We'll start with John up in Detroit, Michigan, metropolitan area, master of all he surveys. How's it going, John?
It's going. I don't have quite the camping story that Caitlin has, though.
Well, and that's what I was going to circle back on, because we had sort of a discovery through the podcast, through having these conversations on a weekly basis, that the only sleepaway camp, if I remember right, the only sleepaway camp experience you had was a winter camp through school.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, Dave, your memory is just like killer. That's impressive.
Nothing in, nothing out.
This was in Michigan?
Yeah. No, in
January.
Because it was in January or February.
Were they trying to kill you?
No, I mean the cabins were heated. It wasn't like that extreme, Eli. Like it was basically like a 1 week away from.
It was a ski resort. Let's be honest.
No, that nothing further from the truth. I'm pretty sure I almost broke my ankles twice on the cross country skis they tried to put me in. Notoriously weak ankles.
So it was a ski.
Exactly.
There was skiing.
They were off-brand skis. They
were the popsicles.
An 80s movie, like you can't ski with us, Brett.
I wish that was my story. I
don't wish that for you.
So having confirmed the fact, though, my question was, because obviously one of the beauties of Sleepaway Camp, at least for me, is the building new relationships or kind of getting to reinvent yourself for the week and all that kind of stuff. That's the fun I had when I got to go to Sleepaway Camp. So in your
friendships,
camp friendships are a whole other thing. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Intense, fast.
Exactly.
Bonding.
You burn hot. And we're going to talk about that in this movie. But John, did you have any new friendships or new romances that bloomed in your Sub-Zero sleepaway?
At the prime age of, I think like I was 11 or 12. No, but it was interesting. There was a couple of people that like they had probably less than 0 game at that age. And they somehow snagged a girl for like 2 days of the camp. And then by the time they got back, it was all over. So it was interesting.
That's how it goes.
That's how camp works. Yeah.
Did your camp have dances and stuff?
There was one night of a dance. It was literally 5 days. It was that doesn't even feel like a camp.
No, look, I was a camp counselor. So I was like camper, excited for dances, and then camp counselor being like, "Oh fuck, here they fucking go."
Here comes
so you were the Meg. You were the Meg of your camp. I can see.
How dare you? I would never be a Meg. That's mean.
And then we've got Jaime up in New York, the state, the state, not the city that this happens in, but it is the same state that this movie takes place in. So, and I know we've talked about your feelings about your Girl Scout experience, but did you do any of the sleepover camps or day camps through Scouts?
Do I seem like someone that wants to go camping?
100%.
Actually, I think Girl Scouts made you do something. I feel like I only did it once. No, but I think we only did it once, and it was like in a cabin, like a big cabin, like rooms and like bunk beds and like an actual bathroom and stuff like that. And I was forced to do it, so I did it for like the one night or whatever. But I have no camping memories whatsoever. So
it's just not an experience that you need in your life at all.
No, I'll glamp where I'm in like something fancy and I can look at the wilderness, but I don't want to be in a tent or something without plumbing or electricity.
And I think your buddy Caitlin has affirmed that in the conversation we had even before we started recording, that outdoors and nature is beautiful as long as there's a nice bed and a working bathroom.
Love a flush toilet.
Agreed. Yeah, there's no need for me to do tents and gross shit. And like, I'm far beyond that. So, and I think I was even as a child. So
I'm happy to hang in a tree and dig a hole.
I know you are, but it's just
rub sticks together to make a fire. But I'm demented like that. And then, of course, we've got Eli.
They call me
the broken boy.
I am broken.
The angry young man.
The angriest.
Eli,
Pittsburgh.
How you lived in the woods or something?
I grew up on a farm.
You're feral,
by the woods. I am.
If you go to season 1, all Eli talked about was woods, and he couldn't stop. So
listen,
that's what I learned it from.
I'm sitting here listening to you guys all talk about camp stories, whereas like I grew up on a farm. So if I would have went to my
it's just your
parentals
life.
and was like, "Hey, can I go to a camp for a week?" They would be like, "Well, who's going to do all this other shit?" Because I worked all summer and it was the worst.
Back in my day.
You had the hay fields. You had to clean out the snakes out of the spring house, redo the chicken floors, redo the fence. You had calving season. Man, it was just all summer long. The worst. I wasn't going to no camp. I was living in camp.
I'm so confused by your childhood. So like I pictured you like
don't ask Caitlin, don't ask.
Among the trees, not like on a farm. I thought like you were like
our
in
farm.
The woods.
Well, our farm was like surrounded by the woods. Like we
do you camp now?
Not since I have some health things from my angry lifestyle. The cold does not work well with me, and neither does sleeping on
the floor.
not the floor or whatever. Sometimes because some of the issues I have, I sleep on my bed wrong and wake up a cripple. So it's
Are you referring to the werewolf curse that the Romani woman put on you?
Speak about it because that's part of the deal.
Oh, well, is that part of the agreement?
Hey, but listen, like I mean, the camping I would do, like I camped a lot, but like a lot of times we would, me and some of my friend, like was the next house over, the kids I went to high school with, we were not only did we have to do our own stuff on our farms, there was a bunch of older farmers, and we would be loaned out to them, and so like a lot of times, like you just had to walk everywhere. And so like a lot of times if we were like helping like the old guys down the street, like with their hay fields, and like you would spend all day, and then like normally be after dark when you're like stacking it in the barns, and then we just like have a tent because we knew we were gonna have to be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning. They're like, why not just sleep by the barn? And so we used to do that.
Wow. Sounds awful.
It was the worst. Listen,
look, so maybe some other people have had very similar experiences, but haven't spoken about it like they were some sort of victim of.
Listen, all I'm saying is,
it sounds like a Tuesday to me.
All I'm saying is, you guys are out there talking about your fancy pants camps, and like John's out racing people on the Black Diamond Trail for their best girl, and you guys are your fancy camp. Well, some of us, we didn't have that luxury because
some people were busy parking trucks at the local square dance.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare I would not stand by for this.
Man, the continuity from episode to episode is solid this year.
He's been giving me some solid material throughout camp.
Well, that's what I appreciate. I can't help it. Not all of us had a privileged life, Dave. Not all of us.
A privileged life.
Yep.
I've described it a lot of ways. I've never considered it a privileged life, but that's just me.
There is something kind of funny about like, let's go cosplay wilderness for like a little while. But I will say, just like to get one sweet story out because it did mean a lot to me. I remember going to tour a camp with my cousins, which Dave, I had mentioned that I went with my cousins, which is very Angela and Ricky. Not quite the same ending, but I remember going to tour it with my cousins and my aunt. And my aunt was like one of my favorite people, and she died very suddenly a few years later, which was awful. But she was just like so funny and realistic, and I'm such an anxious person. And there was this like ropes course that went over a creek, and all of my cousins were doing it, and I was like too afraid to do it. It was just like to tour it, and I was just like, I want to do it. And she was like, you got to do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And I was like, what happens if I fall in? And she was like, you get wet.
Yeah.
And like yeah, and like I don't know, like. When I think about her and when I think about like all the worries I have in terms of anxiety, and it's like, oh, what happens if I fall in? You get wet, like, and you get back out. So I don't know. I just think of that. It makes me very tender-hearted.
That's funny, Kellin. I had a similar experience, but with mine, it was, hey, you need to clean the snakes out of the spring house. I'm like, what if they're poisonous? And I'd always get no, they're not.
You can't hijack my dead aunt story.
Wow.
Listen,
and I'm having a hard time tying those strings together too.
Listen, tying the snakes together, if you will. I wanted to hijack it, but dead snakes or poisonous snakes. That's all I'm saying.
Did you get bit?
Not by any poisonous ones.
Only emotionally, Caitlin.
No, I got bit. I got bit by a green snake one time. Okay, because I thought it was dead, and normally I grab them by their tail, but I was like, well, this one looks dead. I'm going to grab it by its head.
Of course.
And it wasn't dead because it bit my hand. And I cried.
Well, yeah.
That was last week.
How dare you?
Well, before we get into the movie review, I am going to make peace with my brother by giving Eli his traditional and very necessary lately opportunity to let off a little steam on informing all of us about all the new happenings in the paranormal news cycle. So, Eli, what do you have for us this week? Wicked Whispers?
I just don't fucking understand what's happened in the world, and the fact that it's really not talked about a lot. Like Which granted, I know there's a lot in the world. Last week when I came here, I was like, oh, there's not a lot going on, with the real world events. Like, it's crazy. Well, apparently, the supernatural or paranormal, whatever you want to call it, they don't like that because a lot of weird shits happened this last week. And once again, no one's talking about it. First, let's start with Bigfoot.
Do you know about Gaza? Like, there's a reason they're not talking about it. But
listen, I get that. I do. But like, all I'm saying, like, instead of maybe, I don't know, telling me like, hey, we caught Amber Heard walking in that alley.
I don't think that's what they're talking about right now.
I don't even think that's a thing anymore.
It is. I literally, on the news, they're like, we caught her walking in an alley in Italy. She lives there now.
No, sorry, Eli.
Who the fuck?
Your algorithm is so screwed that I believe you, but it's not referential of the rest of the world.
Don't you dare. But hey, here's our stories. We're going to start with the light one before we get into the heavy shit, shall we? I don't know if you remember the last couple weeks I talked about how there's that mean Bigfoot in South Carolina throwing rocks at people. Then there was one in the I think or Texas or Colorado, wherever they're throwing rocks at people. Last weekend, a wildfire watch group was flying around in their helicopters looking for wildfires like they do. It's that time of year when their camera was on this hillside, and the guy goes, "What's that?" And you look at the camera, and it's plain as day, a fucking Bigfoot walked across the hill. That, or it's the hairiest naked man I've ever seen in my life.
Or a costume.
It was definitely not. Why would somebody in a costume go in that area?
Why not? To do exactly this, Eli.
Because you're talking about it.
No.
Well, Eli, you know what? I am going to say it's a little suspicious that happened because Friday, as of the time we're recording, 2 days from now, is National Bigfoot Awareness Day.
Seems
like Bigfoot is on the case.
I'm telling you right now.
Did you say that there's a connection there, Caleb?
No, but there's a conspiracy. Because hear me out, right? All of a sudden, Bigfoots are showing up everywhere and they're being aggressive. If you watch this video,
they're showing up everywhere. I heard there was one in Times Square yesterday.
I've never seen
I had to shoot two off of my porch today.
Listen, I've never seen a Bigfoot walk across the hillside so pissed off.
Have you ever seen a Bigfoot
life.
walk across anything? Because
yes, in videos I have. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So that's going on. So if we don't have enough worries in this world, God forbid you're out in the woods somewhere, Bigfoot might just throw up on you and beat the shit out of you. That's coming.
Eli, would you want for Christmas like a Gone Squatching?
I have a Gone Squatching shirt.
I fucking never mind. Never mind.
Scratch that idea off the list.
I have a Gone Squatching shirt. I have our Squatching shirt, and I have the PA West Virginia Bigfoot Search Society shirt. So
of course you do.
What about the Bigfoot ate my ass? I have a friend with a hat.
That is disrespectful.
That's a solid one.
That is disrespectful.
I don't know about that. I don't know about disrespectful.
Listen, everybody knows.
Eli, you're the one who put out into the world that they're marrying cows. So
no, Eli, I said that was a theory.
For one of your future campfire tales, I need you to know that there was a sitting Virginia congressman who
writes the Bigfoot love erotica. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen it
published.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're friends.
He has he's up to 13 of them he's written. There's 13 of them. Bigfoot erotica. This man is a member of the government.
Bigfoot fucker.
Anyways, speaking of friends of the government.
We're still going?
Oh, yeah. Still got a couple more here.
Okay.
Aliens this week are coming back in a bad way. As you all know, we've been talking about the last few months, the poor mining village in Peru who's been fighting aliens every night.
Yeah,
why does this story keep coming back?
I don't know.
Because
the jetpacks will not go away.
So some of the villagers apparently are like they caught one. Some of the villagers during the day have been going out trying to figure out where these guys are coming from and attacking them. And they were looking through some ruins and some caves and stuff they have, and they found another Bigfoot. There I go. Another alien mummy in these ruins. And they dragged it out, and it's being sent to Mexico with the other alien mummies.
Sweet. So when we get 3 together, will they like come back alive and then like take over the world?
I don't know.
How many alien mummies does it take to make Voltron at this point?
How dare you?
5.
How dare you? So that's bad enough. And those poor people are still fighting him at night. They're saying every night, and no one will help them. No one will help them. And then, so that's bad enough, right? Then there's a bunch of videos that came out more from the government about UFOs, which some of them are crazy. There's also been a lot of, because of the public hearing, the private sector, a lot of pilots are being more open, showing their videos because of what's been going on. Some crazy UFO videos out there now. And then somebody who John didn't believe me, who was knee deep in the alien world. Guess what, John? What? Fucking Tom DeLonge's back. And it got nothing to do with Blink 182.
Tour, right?
Yep.
Angels and Airwaves is coming back.
That movie thing he made?
No, what Tom DeLonge, he made a movie. And he's been talking a lot about aliens. And according to him, with everything that's going on, he's contracting with the government right now. He's been helping set that up, and he's been working with them. No, he has. The government brought him on when they started bringing, because this man has spent no one
in this world that's more of an expert than Tom DeLonge from Blink 182.
No one has.
The government is like,
when you have big money resources.
No one has spent more money on alien research probably at this point than Tom DeLonge.
That is true. I believe that.
They believe. I was reading this thing, and they're like, one of the things that made him decide to go back and be in Blink 182 again was because he was running out of money.
Of course.
But to fund that research.
He released
him and every other washed up.
He released like this some images. He released some images for this documentary, and like they're all kind of pasted together and whatever. And some people, some fans, whatever, were breaking down, looking at the images, and they found two images that they have been running through various sites and AIs, because they're like, wait, are these fake? And they can't determine. They don't appear to be fake. He snuck in there a picture of two people, like two government workers, lean up against, look like they're inspecting what appears to be a UFO, and then another one of a dead alien, laying in this area. And he's been saying for weeks now that there's some things he has learned recently that has frightened him to his core.
Oh no!
Fucking Tom DeLonge is afraid, people. And then he's sneaking these two alien pictures in there, and none of these internet sleuths, Jamie, this is for you, who are like going out and trying to disprove this asshole. They're like,
Jamie,
we can't disprove this. So that's where we're at with the world, people. We got Bigfoot. He's finally had enough of our shit, and he's out stomping around.
You know what finally convinced him that it was all this stuff was real? It was all the small things.
No, how dare you?
Oh, nice.
The poor people in Peru who no one will help them. And then you got fucking Tom DeLonge, who's like sneaking government secrets in some shitty movie he's making.
Eli, what part was it? Was it near the Nazca lines in Peru? Do we know?
It's this little village in northern Peru. It started out a couple months ago. And it's not near the lines. It's like more north, northeast.
Because that's what some people think about the Nazca lines.
Well, right. Yeah, right. And there's also,
this is more jetpack news than it is.
Yeah, and also close to those lines is the doorway to God, they call it. But anyways, it's an ancient, giant ancient doorway that some of the indigenous people left, and it's like weird. And like the only thing they've been able to transcribe is something about it being sealed for a reason. And
there's no reason that they would have built a giant monument that looks like a door just to screw with people.
No,
no one would do that.
But it was in this poor village at night. They started getting attacked by what they said was flying little men, who was like attacking them, and like they felt like they were trying to steal stuff. And so like they called like a local police force, because they're a little mining village, police. And then like the police came out, and they're like, oh, it's just miners in jetpacks trying to steal the stuff from their mines.
You know who I think of every time you talk about jetpacks is Mario from Mario Sunshine, just like floating around.
Wahoo! You know what? All I'm saying, you guys all laugh, but when you wake up one night and like Bigfoot's kicking your door and aliens in jetpacks are flying around and Tom DeLonge is fucking being turned into a lizard person, you'll all be sorry you didn't take me.
I'll just say, whoa, whoever it is that's breaking in my house. Do you know whose friend I am? Do you know who I know?
Whoa.
You know what, Eli? I will say to your defense and to the defense of this mining town, when I was in Peru, we got stopped at a traffic stop because we had too many people in the car and they were gonna write us a ticket, and we just paid them some money and they went away. So corrupt police force. So,
well, it's like magic.
It's crazy. These people have got some videos. Their town is their town's all messed up. And the police keeps going, well, they're just miners with jetpacks trying to steal the stuff out of their mines.
Is that a thing?
Well, that's what everybody said. They're like, do they not know jetpacks aren't real yet? That's not a commercially viable.
They have real
water jetpacks.
Yeah, but that's what I was thinking.
They're not in the water. They're in a mining town.
And I don't even know. And Caitlin, maybe you do because you spent some time down there. What minerals are they mining in Peru? What is there gemstones or precious metals? Legitimate question. Know. I have no idea that somebody would spend the kind of money that it would take to get millions of dollars worth of jet.
I think it's coal. So when I lived in Chile, they're so much of their industry is coal. And because remember those Chilean miners that got trapped for 40 days or some shit?
I'm pretty sure their big thing is coal and silver.
That seems like a lot of work
for
a lot of
miners.
Technology for coal.
No, I'm sorry. It's copper, silver, and zinc and coal. But to your point, for these a bunch of miners be like, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to invest in fucking jetpacks.
We need to zoom down and get
go down to obviously a very poor village, because when you look at pictures of poor people, most of them don't have shoes. And
if I'm in a jetpack, I can my cargo load is 5 pounds tops.
Yes, and they'll never be able to catch me. I could just run through some brambles in my boots, and that would stop them because they don't have shoes. But instead, a jetpack will be much quicker and pay for jet fuel. What's the worst thing happening?
I want you to drop everything and make this your top priority, Eli. We're going to need full updates on this moving forward.
Eli, if I had enough money to send you as a correspondent down there, I would go with you.
I wish someone would just pay me to send me to these different places.
Sure.
Oh my God, that'd be my dream job.
We'll give you an address you can send the bill to. I'm not going to say you're going to pay.
Tom DeLonge? Do you think Tom DeLonge would pay me?
Actually, yeah. Why don't you call it? Yeah, Tom could send you down there.
Hey, Jamie, do you know Tom DeLonge?
No, I don't. Are we still talking about this? I thought we were talking about a movie.
Listen, we're talking about Tom DeLonge. He's at it again.
I don't give two shits about Tom DeLonge or Blink-182. Sorry.
Well,
boom.
He can't be trusted.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't really put my finger on it, Eli. It seems like the entire global journalistic machine is distracted by some other news. And is not covering this, not giving this the due.
Not covering Eli.
I totally get it. I totally get it. But then
that's why you're here, Eli. You're here to cover the truth. But then
you also see, on the news, there's a side story. And they're like, hey, do you all see Taylor Swift is dating that NFL player? Who gives a shit?
That was before this. Your news is way behind again.
No, I thought she started dating him right now.
A couple weeks ago.
That was 3 weeks ago.
When you start studying jetpack villages, time does
dilates.
It dilates.
You know what, Eli? I thought of you because the other day, one of my friends was like, my wife is a Gaylor truther, the idea that Taylor Swift is gay or that she's bisexual. And my friend was like, I would have an easier time if you told me you were a flat earther. I don't give a singular shit about what your Taylor Swift theories are.
I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. Okay, well, thank you, Eli. Appreciate that. Keep us up to date on that. It does seem like the world continues to burn inward.
Yeah, every week.
So appreciate you're on top of that for us.
You're welcome.
Before we get into the actual movie review that we're here to do tonight, as we always do, we're going to do our on-the-fly synopsis. And obviously, as our special guest, I'm going to ask Caitlin the question for this week. And I'm going to bestow on you an incredible amount of power. So I need you to mentally prepare yourself for the power that I'm going to give you, Caitlin, is the power to bring back one 1983 signature fashion item to become the new cultural phenomenon 40 years later. So what do you resurrect? Is it going to be the striped calf tube socks? Is it going to be the male nipple length crop top?
I don't like what you're going to make me. I already don't.
Oh my God, Eli.
Or the classic bike brand coaches shorts, the polyester coaches shorts that were everywhere. Or the men's scrotum link cuffed jorts.
I already know what I am.
Did you have this question before my Discord comment though? Because I just
No, I didn't. Yes, I had it in there. So a lot of great options, but remember, this is going to become canon. This is going to be what's going to be out in the streets of Richmond in just a week.
Look, it's a hipstery place. There's a lot of that already.
Exactly. I was going to say, at Cedar Point this year, all this stuff was going on.
Yeah. My heart wants to say that the Hoochie Daddy jorts, but I feel like we're like well into the 4-inch seams renaissance. Like they're going to keep getting shorter. I have every faith that that'll work out.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
It's coming naturally.
Yeah, that's well on its way. I am going to go crop top, like a dude in a crop top.
The nipple length one though, right? Like it's that's not even normal crop top. Like let's be honest, that was just hits nipples, stops.
Yes.
Well, we've seen him in this fashion numerous times, so we know who this is. So, John, break it down.
Oh, man.
I have the scrotum shorts, ain't I, you son of a bitch?
I'm wearing the crop top.
I'm scrotum shorts.
It well covers my nipples.
But see, you're tube top socks because, like, they never really went out of style, right? Like, that's what you are. Truesies. That's what happens right there. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Never got style. Like, tube top. That's what you are. And if he's the nipple, that means I'm the fucking scrotum shorts.
I love those shorts,
every week you try and figure out what
he does, and just let him.
And every week I'm the most offensive one. I know your game now.
In your head,
brain.
you are.
Prove it.
Oh my god. Anyway, let John give the 2-second synopsis of this movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have an early on death that creates an odd family situation. Kids go to camp. One kid looks like a girl, but is not a girl. And they end up killing lots of people. Or I guess it's relative. They kill a few people.
Yeah, they kill enough people.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, honestly, the cook got off easy.
Agreed.
And
we'll talk about it. So thank you, John.
Yeah.
I think that's enough to get us kind of cracking on this.
It's pretty classic camp, horror movie.
Yeah. One might even say a prototype of the genre. So
Camp Arawak, let's go.
Exactly. So Caitlin, as our guest, kick us off here. Was this your first watch? Because remember last year you blew us away with the knowledge that you gave us the cabin in the woods.
Oh my God, I almost forgot. Now you blew my mind again. I forgot that piece of information.
Fresh friendship lore. I've been saying it before. This was not a first watch for me. I've seen Sleepaway Camp quite a few times. So it wasn't a first watch, but it was a delight to watch as always for me.
So what do you think of this movie?
I really like it. I feel like it gets, because of the end, the twist at the end, all the rest of the movie kind of gets washed away sometimes when people are looking back at it. But I love the campy, forgive the pun, horror here. And I love the kills. I think there are some really creative kills. There are some really memorable characters and some very iconic fashion choices. I want to talk about Judy because she's a cunt and I hate her. And you're just so glad to see her get got.
And we all know that person.
Oh, yeah. There's always a Judy at camp. Like, oh, God. But I think that this movie gets forgotten. Like some of the cool parts of this movie get forgotten because of the end. And that's fair. Felissa Rose is awesome. And she's like cashing in on this memory of her as a child actor. And I love that she's a good sport about it. I love that there's a whole Joe Bob segment called Mangled Dicks, like the Mangled Dicks hotline.
Year of the Wiener.
Year of the Wiener. We should call her. But I like talk about the kills. I'd like to talk about some of the bangers of the lines, like eat shit and live. Eat shit and live. Yeah. Eat shit and live, Bill, is an all-timer. And what does the kid on the toilet say when he's like, I gotta go take like a
Oh yeah.
He says something like, "I have to go take like a killer dump or something," and it's like, what are you? No one speaks like this. But it's just
I do.
I was gonna say I don't know about
Yeah, have you
that.
met Eli?
my bad.
I do.
Didn't mean to Eli erasure. No, I like this movie. I think it's fun to revisit. It's not one that I watch like every single year, but I love to put it on every once in a while. And I know that Felissa Rose does a lot of theater screenings of this nowadays. And a good friend of mine, Pickens, is like hardcore obsessed with this movie. It's his favorite horror movie. And he wore the nipple length crop top, tube socks,
nice.
and hoochie daddy jorts to one of the premieres, and he's got pictures with Felissa Rose, and they're just like,
that's awesome.
I love that there's a fanfare around this. I think that's really fun.
And she's embraced it. Like she is
100%. Yeah.
She is the oh shoot, what's his name from Tremors?
Kevin
The
Bacon.
Gummer. She is the
Gummer.
Gummer
Yeah.
kind of
Michael
equivalent.
Gross.
She's just embraced that this is worth celebrating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah. I like it. I don't know if everyone likes it. I'm interested to hear.
yeah. I think we'll find out. I think
Jamie, are we on the same page again?
we'll review this.
Oh, Jamie.
You too.
Oh,
You're the Wiener has been shaking up the podcast. As a listener and an occasional contributor, I am simply floored.
Oddly, I have slept just fine.
Same.
So Eli, you are up now. Was this your first watch? What do you think of Sleepaway Camp?
This unfortunately was not my first watch. I'll be honest. I don't like this movie at all. It is blatantly a Friday the 13th ripoff. By this point, this came out. There was 3 Friday movies that had been out. They knew it was a blatant Friday the 13th ripoff because if you look at the advertisements for all this in the shitty 2 other sequels that came out after this, even the advertisements, they have her wear a shitty hockey mask. Like they knew like this, that they were ripping a lot of Friday 13th off, so much so even kind of the structure of the story of like the camp, the first person kills, the shocking ending of, look how we have a lady killer. Oh, no, she's not, because we're going to do a more shocking twist than Friday 13th. She's got a wiener. So like, I didn't like it. I thought it's boring. In all admittance, I am someone who rather enjoys the Friday the 13th series.
See, that's I think where like I'm like,
but and like
I do too. That's probably the problem. Also.
Well, but like the thing is, like you can like copy and stuff, but like there's like people talk about like, oh, there's like creative kills. Well, not really. Like a lot in my mind, a lot of these kills were just once again rip-offs of stuff that they've done in Fridays, and that's nothing against you, Caleb. But like, and you can have your opinion, but like it's all been
nothing
done.
Against idiots.
Yeah,
like
nothing against you, idiot. Like there's this whole thing. It's like none of the characters are interesting. I don't think the plot's interesting.
You don't think that sleazy ass camp director?
So here's my like. We get another subplot.
Judy?
There was a lot of weird, and like I get like they're trying to include like that sexual humor, dark sexual humor in this, but then it gets even weirder. Like if you look at the making of this, there was a lot of weird stuff going on with the actual cast and the director and some of the scenarios that I like once like I thought it was like weird, like especially in the beginning, like that whole point that fucking child molester cook, which I thought was stupid. But then you hear like kind of some stuff that was going on in the background filming. And you're like, well, now that just makes me feel uncomfortable that is happening. So like I don't really like that. And like I don't know. It to me like the movie was too long. It's too stupid. It's just a direct ripoff of Friday the 13th, and like it almost seems like when you like kind of learn the making of. This was all just for some dude who I think was a little too into hanging out with a bunch of minors to make a movie. I don't like it. Stupid. And that is the Mole King's Quarter.
Okay.
All right, John, your turn. First viewing. What do you think?
No, not my first viewing. To me, this feels like it's all real tongue in cheek and kind of like over the top, kind of like classic. Like the line choices, all the words that they put, like, I mean, to Caitlin's like call out of like what the guy says about to go to the bathroom. He's like, I got to take a wicked dump. I checked.
Thank you.
I checked my notes. I actually wrote that one down because I was just like, who says that? I mean, it's over the top and awful. Is it good? No. It's not good. I mean, it's only got notoriety for the last sequence. And honestly, the beginning sequence with the mother that's trying to turn this poor little boy into a girl comes across as just a really bad actress. But in like retrospect, you watch it and like, no, this woman's deranged. Like, and the actress is actually, she's getting there.
She's
like,
scary.
Yeah, very scary. But at first, if you're just watching it straight, you're just like, wow, this is just awful.
She was just like a Paddington bear or some shit, like her little hats. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. And wasn't that nice of me? So creepy. The scary part is I recently had worked for somebody who reminded me of this person.
Oh, wow.
I no longer work for that person.
That would be an uncomfortable situation.
At a camp?
No, it wasn't a camp, Eli. Sorry. It wasn't that cool. But no, I mean, this movie, I mean, I get why people are into it. It's kind of catching a certain kind of like wave of notoriety. In terms of, do I seek this one out? No, I don't seek it out, but I can appreciate for what it is. I will, like Eli, probably go to Friday the 13th, like way over and over and over again before I'd even watch Sleepaway Camp. And I watched Sleepaway Camp 2, like on a lark one time. I was like, this one's actually not that bad.
People seem to like it better. Some horror fans do.
Yeah.
You know what? Can I posit a question? I feel like a lot of the people that I know that like this, because it is campy and campy aligns with a lot of queer culture. I feel like a lot of my queer friends fucking love this shit. And not to call you like boring and straight, Eli and John and possibly Jaime, but
wow.
I'm just saying, it's like, I like him. It's funny. I don't know. It's like, it's funny.
See,
and,
I think
from what I could see, there's also a section of I'm not speaking for anybody, but queer folk who don't like this, who do not.
Well, there's like,
movie. And
in terms of gender,
I don't plan on talking about. But I'm not up yet. So,
but it's funny because like the other side of the coin to me, a lot of people I found, because at the time, Friday the 13th was considered one of the more gory commercialized films, and like a lot of people found it disgusting, and like for the first, I think it was the first 5 of them, they almost didn't get away with an R rating because they wanted to do NC-17, and a lot of people preferred this because it wasn't nearly as bad. It wasn't as gruesome, and the effects were so outrageous that they're even though like looking back now, I was watching 13, it didn't, or Friday 13th, like none of it looks real, but to them Sleepaway Camp looked less real. So I think there was the popularity it found was they could enjoy that campy camp horror film, but it not be as disgusting or as hard to watch them as Friday 13th.
I don't even think it has anything to do with gore for me, or with like I was a friend of the like podcast fam, Rachel. She writes for The Advocate, which is like a gay publication, and started talking about like how horror is inherently campy. A lot of gay folks like really enjoy horror and campiness, and Halloween. How Halloween has always been like a fun gay holiday. It's a really interesting deep dive. But I don't even mean it in terms of gore. I mean it in terms of like, if you're familiar with the phrase like serving cunt, Judy is like, you're a carpenter's wet dream, flat on all sides and in need of a screw. Like, she might as well be like a drag queen, like serving, like giving a roast. Like, I don't mean
that's
in
my
terms
favorite
of
line in the movie. It's so bad.
It's horrible, but it's so fucking stupid. It's funny.
Yeah. No, those are the parts I do enjoy this movie more so than I guess kind of the end twist and like everything. Like the crazy over the top ridiculousness is what I do enjoy of this. And I do love myself some cheesy horror. Like Chopping Mall is like still one of my favorite movies because it's so ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah. And I think the conversation we've started and we'll get deeper into later that you, Eli, and Caitlin are talking about is, I think the argument we're going to have is the intentionality behind all of that dialogue. Like, was it just incompetence or was there an intention behind it?
Oh, it's incompetence. Eli and I are.
Well, that's what makes it so
if you don't mind, I would like to actually have the fucking conversation before we make that decision. I think that would be fun to kind of talk through some of that and kind of have a conversation about it. But Jaime, is this your first watch? What do you think of this?
No, it's not my first watch. I, though, did not watch this until like a few years ago because I knew the ending. Never had any desire to seek it out otherwise. Like, it does not interest me. It didn't interest me in the least. I made it clear when we had this movie, I didn't even really want to do it. And I'm not even touching on the possibly problematic, complicated, like, ending of this movie, or just even throughout, like, things that could be going on in this movie. I'm just going to talk about it as a horror movie that I do not think is very good. The acting is absolutely atrocious, and it's like, it's just a bad horror movie. There's plenty of them. But for this one to be like, I know this is a horror classic, people love it. It's like, I think because I didn't see it as a child, like, I didn't see it in like the 80s, whereas maybe then it would have been one of my staples or one of my horror go-tos or something I love. I saw it as an adult with this ending, knowing the end, like, just knowing so much about it in a different time period, in a different life. And I just, like, this movie does absolutely nothing for me. The dialogue is cringe. It's not funny. It's cringe. Like, I don't, like, even just hate it, but I don't ever, like, this is not a movie I planned on ever even watching again, really. This is only, like, I guess my second time through, because the first time I watched it, I was like, this is the movie. This is the movie that everybody thinks is one of the, like, classic horror movies, because it's just not good. More power to Felissa Rose, who's been riding this for whatever we're in, 40 years of making this her career. I know Caitlin said it, but it's in my notes too, because, like, and I'm not being sarcastic, like, this woman has made a career out of being in only the first Sleepaway Camp, when there's been more, and I've seen them all, but, like, she has made a career out of it, and she's at every horror convention, and she's still making that damn stupid face, and that's great. It's great for her. So I'm happy that this was her lifeblood, her force of, and it's given her a whole career in horror. She shows up everywhere. People love her. People love this movie. I do not. I got nothing on this movie, really. It is what it is. And, maybe I don't think it really is, like Eli said, but I am a huge Friday the 13th fan also. So, like, I don't know if you want to say that's part of the reason. Totally. Like, I'm fine saying it is for me, but, like, I don't even think that's it. I could watch another camp movie and be like, okay, there's another one and whatever. But, like, Friday the 13th has.
Would you rank The Burning?
The Burning's good.
Do you know I've never seen it?
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. I just surprised you all, right? I've been meaning to, and I never put it on. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't bother me that it's another camp.
It's a very different movie, but it's in that same subgenre.
Yeah, I've honestly, it's one of those things that just always falls behind something else every time I go to put it on.
Because the Evil Dead's on somewhere, right?
Because for the 80th time. Yeah, so I don't really even have much to say. I'm not going to come in like I did for Mandy or Midsummer with Caitlin. Like, it doesn't even impact me that much. It's like one of those, like, I just like this movie is blah. And this will probably be the last time I watch it, unless someone does a watch along or there's a reason for me to go to something, or, I'm not going to like actively avoid it. I just like, it's not something I seek out either to watch.
Well, and to that point, this is one, and I think, Caitlin, you're exactly right. This is one that gets brought up in the community a lot. This is
all time.
This is a free game for a lot of live watch-alongs. Like if there's a Joe Bob event or something like that, or this is one that's up there because there's a ton to talk about, and a movie that's and scary is such an overused word. Like, everybody defines it differently, but a movie that somebody would consider genuinely scary is only really genuinely scary, I'm using my air quotes, the first time you watch it. So it's not prime for rewatching and all that kind of stuff. But a movie like this, to where you can just really get behind a really cringy scene or an over-the-top kill or a character that you just love to hate, it can make that group environment. And we talked about this like on Piranha and those kind of movies that are beer and friend movies. This is a beer and friend kind of movie to some people.
And look, every story I've heard about a Felissa Rose screening of this is she's been sloshed. Like, I mean,
it's got to be a ton of fun. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, this is, and just like most everybody else, this is not one that is in regular rotation. Like, I don't even know. I think the last time I watched this was several years ago. And to the point that I was just making, it was a watch with friends kind of situation. I didn't throw it in. Somebody was having a little get together and we put it on and drank and played cards and half paid attention. But when the boys are on the roof or something, everybody kind of stops and pays attention. while Mel takes care of the business with Ricky. But it is a movie that I enjoy. It is a movie that I can have fun with. And something I want to talk about in a little bit is we all have these kind of movies and we can't really articulate why. Like, Eli, for you to say how much this movie frustrates you while openly celebrating and defending a movie like Maximum Overdrive, it's just different perspectives.
Don't argue with that.
But that's just the kind of movie that this movie to me, and I know John and Caitlin were on this episode. It was the only episode of The Wicked Wild that Jaime and Eli and I weren't on, was the April Fool's Day episode. And this feels like a genetic cousin to that movie, and in the energy and style and kind of attitude behind that movie, because it's subversive. This movie is like, in my opinion, it is intentionally subversive to the Friday the 13th style camp slasher. Like, there are things that you expect to happen that the rules of camp slashers would require to happen that don't happen. And they openly don't happen in front of the camera. Like, the camera puts you in a position where a thing is supposed to happen and it doesn't. Like the sex scenes or any of those kind of things. There is, and I don't know how much we want to talk about. There is a lot of what is portrayed as underage minor nudity in this movie. And that's a problem. I'm not defending that at all.
If you watch the making of, wasn't portrayed. It was really happening behind the camera. They just was cutting it to not show.
But yeah, this is a movie that I feel like is subverting a lot of those things. And again, we can talk in greater detail about how intentional all of that stuff was. But for me, it felt like they were making decisions in a pretty intentional way about the way the kills were. And whether you think they're creative or not, there's not chainsaws and there's not machetes and there's not really knives other than Meg. I mean, there's some great framed kills, and like the classic camp slasher, you don't necessarily even see the kill. You just get the reveal in act 3 of the body or something like that. And those are all really kind of gnarly.
And someone who liked horror and who was dedicated to the craft had a really good time with those practical effects. When you see the reveal of the bee stung wicked dump guy, it's pretty good. Like, I think that the effects are pretty good, and it's not over the top gory, but burned up pedophile, love to see it. And he looks like shit, and stung up b-boy looks very gross. I don't know. I think that they did a good job.
Yeah, I think Cookie, who got boiled alive, rightfully so, I think he looks more realistic than Freddy does as far as a burn victim. I mean, you can feel those boils and blisters on his face and on his arms. You can kind of feel what they've done. But yeah, I agree that somebody loved this movie, at least from an effects standpoint. They loved those kind of scenes that they were putting together.
And that's what's funny, because the effects can look really good. And then there's that cop with the worst fake mustache.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
There are people that came in here with some ideas, and there are some people that came in here to do work. And it's that's how it happens sometimes. And you end up with this weird mismatch of, I don't know, but it's kind of neat to look back on that and fully recognizing that, I think it was funded by this dude's parents or something. And
his mother died. He was really happy because he ran out of money. And when he died, he used all of the inheritance to finish making it.
Yeah, I think that might be, I'm not going to speak on this guy's behalf, but I think you might be over communicating that he was happy his mom died, but he did use those.
His quote was, I'm happy
dedicated it to his mom. Right.
His quote was, I'm happy that if this was her time to choose to go, it was because she'd be happy we know we could finish the movie. So maybe I embezzled it a little bit, but I feel the sentiments there.
Okay. I won't be speaking on behalf of somebody who lost a parent.
I will, because that guy's trash.
Well, from what I understand, it's a lot of random cousins and kids. It's not actors, and you can tell. Like Jaime said, the acting is not great in a lot of scenes, but that also adds to the charm a little bit for me. And I know it doesn't land for everybody, but that for me does kind of. There's something about what if we made a movie vibe that's kind of like April Fool's Day. I'm just what if you made a movie, and what if it was this weird ass thing?
Yeah, and they kept trying after this because this thing made 30 times its budget in the first 5 years that it existed. I don't know what it's made by this point, but it was like made for like 350,000 or something like that. And it made millions within the first, because it just got this huge, and I think we talked about it with Legend of Boggy Creek. It got this like huge drive-in reel distribution. Like people would buy the reels, and he was obviously going to sell it to anybody that he could. So it made a huge amount of money in that.
And I feel like at the time that probably had a lot to do with like the twist at the end.
Yeah.
And like, even as someone, like, my whole podcast is about gender dynamics in horror. Like, I fucking forget about it. Like, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, Angela has a penis. Okay. Like, and like, it's a memorable scene because of the face and because of like the weird splicing that they did with like Felissa Rose's head on that body. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. The things I remember about this movie are Judy getting her kill, which we can talk about. Judy getting wrecked. Eat shit and live, Bill. Gonna take a wicked shit. Like, there's just so many other things to this that I think probably in the 80s when it had this like huge thing, it was probably like the shock value of the twist at the end. But now I feel like it's finally gotten into this place where it's having this renaissance of like, let people have fun with the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I think even beyond the twist ending, it's hard for us sometimes in 4 years later to recognize that in 1983, there's a lot of representation in this movie that was not in any other mainstream movie. I mean,
definitely
the dad and his partner, and then Aunt, whatever her situation is, but her affectations of mental illness or whatever you want to say it. I mean, they were presenting a lot of stuff that a Friday the 13th isn't going to be tackling. So you would also I would think need to consider that there was a emotional reaction to this movie too in the Reagan years.
Yeah, not all the representation is good, and
it's
there are
great.
some people that like are really like, okay, well, there's like some inherent transphobia or like this like homophobia that like this gay relationship that trickled down and made these kids fucked up, and it's like the 80s were a fucked up time. Like, I don't know, there were a lot of things that were said and done and portrayed that were like not great.
Right.
At the same time, there is something about like they put it on screen though, and like it may not be the best representation, but I don't know. It gives people something to talk about, and it opened the door for that kind of conversation. And you've gotten to see the evolution of us going from Angela to Buffalo Bill, and then into Titan, where it's like, okay, we're doing gender stuff, and it's not ever been perfect or like whatever representation, but we're looking at killers. It's not supposed to be. Mm-hmm. It's not supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah. Well, and the only defense I would make, and obviously we're having an argument with people that may not even exist, but to your point, there are people that have issues with this. But for an early 80s movie, at least for a sheltered kid like me who saw a lot of other 80s movies, the fact that the dad wasn't an affected gay man, I mean, he wasn't presented as an effeminate man at all. I mean, he was pretty normal, great dad who was out with his kids at the lake, and
they didn't like limp wrist him. They didn't like, make a stereotype. Like they were like, oh, he's a dad who's boating with his kids, and it's like, it is what it is. I sit with it in a place of like, there's a reason like a lot of my queer friends like this. Part of it's campiness, part of it's because there is some representation, even if it's not perfect. But it's like, that's not even the things that I like to talk about with Sleepaway Camp. And I feel like that's the direction the conversation tends to go. Right. And I'm like, I don't even give a shit. Like, that's what my whole podcast is about. But even so, who cares? Like, I want to talk about Wicked Dump. I want to talk about fucked up face. I want to talk about like boiled alive man and the bad mustache and how he's like, that man is in so much searing pain. And you're like, yeah, fucking
burn,
suffer.
Yeah, I totally get that stuff. And I mean, generally, like, especially from what's the 60s, 70s, 80s, a lot of times when you would get any type of reputation, a lot of times it'd be in horror. Night of the Living Dead had the first main African American lead in a film at the time, I think. And then even like Friday the 13th, a lot of people praise the original because you had a woman killer who wasn't a Black Widow or using poison or was like presented as,
like a succubus, like
or like presented as killing like old people in their beds who were in a nursing home. Like, she was out there fucking people up. And a lot of people felt for a good reason when you know the twist. It's not even that. It's just like all that aside, like that movie, it's weird, and maybe that's just me because I don't know if you guys realize this about me. Sometimes when I feel strongly about something, I deep dive and go on tangents.
I've never known you to have a strong opinion.
No, it's weird, right? A lot of people don't know me. Like I this movie infuriated me at the time. So I'm like,
what?
Yeah, it's surprising just because I'm like, I blatantly.
It's not surprising.
I know, right?
You tap into fury and rage so quickly, and I appreciate that about you.
Listen, it's like a solar flare, you know what I mean? I think like I was almost like Jaime the first couple times I watched this where I did, and then like as I developed and the internet came out, so you get information more easily. And I was like, man, they stole this, and like I was looking to see how much that he was swish inspired by Friday the 13th, which very was some like way it sounds, but then like just seeing a lot of the background stuff's going on, like that paints a lot to me too, because what sometimes like even the lines I was like, oh, it's campy or dumb, but then like when you hear like after reading some of the stuff that's kind of going on behind the scenes, I'm like, well, now it just doesn't feel so creepy and dumb. It just feels like these people were kind of weird. Like this is just kind of a weird situation all around. Like maybe that was just their like his like weird style and like it just carried over in his filmmaking. I don't know. That's kind of where like I sit with it. Like,
which is all things that have been clearly said about Cunningham too.
I'm not arguing that. No, I'm listen.
He stole half of the crap he did in Friday the 13th.
Not
openly discussed it.
Oh, I'm not even arguing that. I'm not even like it's not even the stealing from Friday the 13th. Like I said, it's like something like there's stuff. So I think that's what paints it because like now like because sometimes like because then I get stuck with like I'll hear a line of something like, well, was that because we're trying to be funny or is that because like some of this other stuff that's going on? I don't know. So like that's where I sit with it. Like it's just kind of like I said, the other stuff like I like the ending, whatever, like I don't care. Like that stuff, like I get it. And like I said, it's not always great, but one of the things I always liked about horror, especially like older horror, is like you were gonna see character types or people types that you probably weren't gonna see in other genres. Cause like with horror, I always felt like it was kind of like the underdog film. We're never winning awards. I mean, even now, like what Jordan Peele didn't get the Oscar for a horror or whatever. Like I forget what they classified it as.
I think it was a comedy.
A comedy, like it's like horror is always going to be that kind of underdog, and until Scorsese makes something like some kind of dark horror, I'm not going to ever. It's like all that stuff I get, but like that's just where I sit with it.
I have like a question, like because like. Is someone like a pedophile who made this? Like, is that because I'll be honest, like I don't watch Jeepers Creepers either. I mean, like these people come out, I'm sorry, but like some of it's too problematic to support anything that they actually like did.
Right. I mean, not directly, but like he like kept hiring kids and like for films like this at the time, they weren't when it came to
because I know nothing. I just want to put like I know nothing. And even when I say I don't like the movie, it has nothing to do with subtext or the ending or anything like that. I'm looking at this as a horror movie. I'm in a different page.
Right.
But now I need to know what this director like.
Right. But like they just like he hired a bunch of young kids. Like she was 13, Angela, when they made
she's
this.
Really young. Yeah, she's
and
young,
like the one boy, like when they were doing the skinny dipping scenes, a lot of those boys were young. And then like he wanted them all nude when they first do it, but then they were filming in a public place because they couldn't afford to close the camp down. And so a lot of the town would come and sit around that lake and watch them film the movie. And so like then a lot of those boys got weird and like then there was this whole thing, him trying to convince it. And finally they weren't going to like, they didn't want to do it. And like, so then he was going to lose a day. So then he agreed to let him like wear their shorts or whatever. And like, then like there were some minors who started dating some more people. And, like, it's just a lot of weird stuff that like I said,
I mean, like, have you been to a camp and seen like Camp Crusade Junior?
I already said I haven't been. I wasn't allowed to go to camp, Kellin. Why do you keep rubbing it in?
Look.
I wanted to go to a camp and shoot a bow and arrow and poop in a bucket, but
you know what?
Too busy cleaning out snakes.
I didn't get to do archery.
We have to point out one thing. This has been one of the few movies that we've watched that has a blatant like pooping scene, and Eli's like out on it.
Wasn't
like
a pooping scene.
Wait, blatant. We watch people have sex while taking a shit, and you're saying that this movie?
Yeah,
he specifically says he's going to take a wicked dump.
That's but like you don't really see the dump.
People say shit like I don't know. We just watched which one? Just did he literally? Was it Scouts or was it Scouts Guide or whatever? He goes in and literally takes a dump right in the middle of the film, like whatever. Like we just. We just went through this.
Well, Eli, I just like to address what you said. I don't know like what went on behind the scenes, and I don't know that any of us ever really will because we weren't there. I don't want to doubt any of the stories where if people did feel like they were put in uncomfortable positions or victimized, I don't want to discount that. At the same time, I think about one of my favorite movies from the 90s, Now and Then, has a boys skinny dipping scene, and they're nude, and it's fucking Devon Sawa, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know that Now and Then gets the same sort of reaction for having that same kind of production in terms of like, literally like apples to apples, like having boys skinny dipping, and it's fucked up and probably shouldn't have been done today.
It's not the skinny dipping. It's, I think my whole thing like that kind of felt with me was they didn't want to do it because like people were watching, and like, then it became this whole thing where they spent all day being like, well, yeah, you got to do it. And then finally, like that's where like, I think the difference for me lies.
Let me say this just for the sake of our podcast and because we're obviously speaking in a public forum. I looked it up, and there are no public records of any allegations being brought against Robert Hiltzik or the production.
No, I'll make sure I didn't say
make that very clear.
Yeah, no, I don't think I said that. If I imply that, it's not what I was trying to do. I apologize, but no, it's just like I said, when I was watching making, like it's like, and when I watch stuff, that's just how I am. So like if I hear like background, like that kind of affects how I'm seeing what's going to make it. That's just my thing. Like I said, like to me, it's never been about like the representation stuff. Like that's just putting my 2 cents in.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, now all the things I heard about the filming were that it was like incredibly grassroots and chaotic, and where it's like, okay, we have this camp for like, I don't know how long they had it for, but it's like, we have this camp, we got to make it work. Here are some random kids, and like, oh, I have a cousin, he wants to be in the movie too, and it's like, okay, bring him on. And it's just like one of those chaotic, like, we're making it work, and even if it doesn't work, it's going to be in the final cut. And there's something about that just kind of lights my fire, right? And in the opposite way, where I'm like, I go off, you did it, like you did it. It might not be perfect, but you made a movie happen.
Yeah, out of nothing. Like this is not somebody who had a great deal of like experience. Like this was something. It was a passion project, I guess is the best way to put it. And to that point, it's even this camp that they shot this at was the camp that Hiltzik actually attended as a kid.
Yes.
Like he knew this camp. So,
and that feels very like, I don't know, that feels very fun to me. Like I try not to care too much about the production of this kind of stuff unless something like major happened that I need to acknowledge. But when I hear about it, I'm like, I can see myself being like, let's do it at Camp a Monkey, and like, do that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm. Camp what? You said that word like 4 times, and I'm still trying to figure out what camp. Well, no, I know, but what is that?
Pamunkey. It's named after one of the tribes here, Eli.
Oh, for some reason I kept thinking you were saying his monkey, and I was like, why wouldn't someone just name the camp after the monkey's name and not like his monkey?
His monkey.
Yeah, like
no.
So before we go too far, there is a burning question, and I don't mean to make this too serious, but it is something that I need your all's help with. Is in the scene that we've all talked about, open pedophile chef, horribly uncomfortable scene. Then we get his big kill scene, and Ben leaves for a minute and he gets boiled alive. And then Ben comes back. Why is he in his underwear? Like he's gone for 2 minutes, and he says something before he leaves.
He had to take a wicked dump. I don't know what to tell you.
He leaves fully dressed and comes back in his boxers and undershirt.
No,
I think he said like, what's banging in here? Or something like that. It's something about noise or something. But like to your point, it's almost like he's like, I'll be back in a second. And the wind blew his fucking pants off. Nice. That's as long as he's gone. And like the other weird thing too, like even his reaction, right? He comes in, pants just gone. It's like a ghost took him. There's a guy who was not badly burned,
hot,
but so much so that he's got these weird, like pulsating spots on his face. And his first thing to stop there and go, huh? What's going on here? It's like, what you tell me you're missing pants. Where did they go? You work with children.
See, my thing is like that pot, comedically large. That is the funniest shit in the movie to me. Like, why in the world would there be a pot
boiling children?
They're making soup for 80,000 children in this camp.
Yeah, 200 ears of corn, and I'm like, that corn, amazing. I want to eat it, and it's like,
and there's 20 kids there.
I know.
Yeah, it's
that kind of pot. The when I was in grade school, all the lunch ladies were like local, like these older ladies, like they made food from scratch, like country food. I remember cream chicken over biscuit day. They had a pot like that, and the lady had a giant wooden like spoon, and you always do that. Was gonna be a good lunch day.
So good.
Oh my god, it was so good. So good.
More than oh no, go.
I always flirted with the one lunch lady there. I mean, I was young. I'd be like, so that way I get an extra biscuit and some extra gravy.
Hey, good looking.
I'll be like, ooh, Tammy, what you making? It smells so good.
I
was like,
did she smell like cigarettes?
She talked like this. Like she.
Oh, was it Sheila?
Like, no, but no. She's like this old country lady. Her like skin was like leather and crackled from the sun.
My girl.
And I'd always be like, I'd be like, did you curl your hair tighter? Like it looks really cute. I was like, I wish my mom would do her hair like that. She'd be like, oh honey. She's like, you hungry today? She goes, you want an extra biscuit? I was like, oh yeah.
You're like, yes, I've been working on the farm and I don't get to go to camp.
How dare you?
got buried by a snake this week.
A snake bit me.
Listen, how dare you scrape chicken poop out of the bottom of a chicken coop? And
the weird thing is being able to do it without talking about it.
You know what? How dare you? Listen, there's people out here who suffered not being able to go to camp because they were too busy picking up snakes out of a spring house. And I want them to know that I'm here for you. I'm speaking
you represent that person.
And you think those people are listening to a podcast, let alone this one?
Those folks
There's one that has a podcast.
Who got attacked by chickens when you were trying to clean the poop out of there and get their eggs, and you had a spur broke off your leg. Guess what?
Yeah.
You broke a sperm off in your leg?
No, a chicken broke its spur off of my leg on more than one occasion. You'd be in there shoveling poop and getting eggs, and they hated it. They didn't want you in there.
A cock jabbed a sperm in your leg. That's what you just said, right?
I hate when that happens.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm hearing him right, aren't I?
You are not. You are not. That's rude and that's ignorant.
Wow. I don't know about ignorant. Sounds like he knows a lot about chickens.
I do. We had like 45.
I was talking about Dave.
Oh. Fair enough.
Oh Lord.
Can I ask why not only why Judy is like 20, but also why she's 20 and she's sitting here making out with 12-year-old boys constantly? Like I know girls mature faster, but like there's a huge age gap between Judy and these boys. Like Ricky, like again, I know women, like I know girls mature faster and they'll start to look older, but like looking older while still being like 12 is one thing. Like you could tell, like this girl is like 20. She literally looks like she's like 20, and Ricky looks like he's about 13. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, we went steady last year, whatever the fuck he said about them.
Like, that's like together. So camp to me. Like that reminds me of camp romances.
I did not know that was the thing.
Like I'm coming back to camp this year, and my camp, but not me because like
I know that I know the hookups at camp. I know that's a thing. But Judy being like literally like 10 years older than these boys is like.
I mean, was it Caitlin? You could tell us. Was there camp counselors and campers that hooked up?
Ew.
No, I think there was like junior counselors. I mean, there was always like kids that are like, "Oh my god, counselor, whoever is so hot." But like, I feel like there's always like a junior counselor and a counselor, or like a camper and a junior counselor. They're like a little closer in age, but. It's all, I mean, it's just chaos. It's
and whether it was ever really happening, the gossip was always strong.
Of course, yeah.
It's kind of like Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
Wet Hot American Summer was all I was thinking during this movie. Like, right. And it's not that, it's almost any camp movie I watch. I'd rather be watching Wet Hot American Summer, which it is the fashion. Like, I'd rather see like Showalter in a crop top than.
And what's funny is both those movies to me, Sleepaway Camp and Wet Hot American Summer, feel so true to camp for me. Like when Paul Rudd is like, and like, heaving and hemming and hawing about having to pick up his tray. It's like, I feel like we all knew like a dude counselor who didn't do.
I still do that though. Yeah. So that's a
thing. Wait, you eat on a tray?
No, anytime I have to do anything, I do the Paul Rudd like,
I got all excited because I was like, a tray. Did you go to Did you go to Golden Corral? Because they give you a tray there.
And there it is.
Corral.
Our weekly Golden Corral call.
Yep.
There it is.
appreciated. But like the capture the flag, like the water balloons, like the kids being just like that's how I talked when I was at camp. I was like, eat shit and die, eat shit and live. Like that's run free in this camp. You're gonna act like an asshole as a kid, and that's what you do.
Yeah, one of the funniest scenes in the whole freaking thing, to me at least, is when the director is confronting Ricky while Angela is being openly and publicly bullied in the background. Like she is screaming bloody murder, and he is like, could care less.
That guy's like, hey, if we could just not talk about this.
Ever.
Eat shit and live, though, I will give credit that might be one of the best things to come out of a movie. Like, it's odd that it's this movie.
It's so
and it's I'm not going to say that Ricky is a masterful actor, but the delivery of that line might be like,
yeah.
There's something about him where he's like, I don't know. He's like,
he gets better as the movie goes on. Like when it first starts, I'm like, ooh, Ricky's like cringe. But as it like, and I don't mean like, I just mean his delivery. Like he's a little bit, he's a child actor, whatever. Yeah. But as it goes on and he's like the hero for Angela and like, you know, like, I don't know. It's just, and he has these one-liners like the fucking eat shit and live. Like it's just like.
And I am endeared to him because he's like, you know, he and Angela probably aren't close as cousins, but he's like, hey, leave her alone. And I'm like, yeah I've got cousins and we might not be best friends, but I'm like, hey,
no, he looks out. No, he's looking out for her at all times. Like, you know,
listen, for me, it's hilarious to think of Ricky growing up in Aunt Martha's house. Like at first you think that would totally not happen. But then you realize, no, it would, because he would just have her like programmed. He would totally be faking it at home and then doing whatever the hell he wants out of the home. He would have that situation wired.
Well, listen, if none of you thought of me, because I thought of me, that scene when they're up on the roof and he's walking there, he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, fuck you, I'll fuck you up. I'm like, well, that's Eli. That's me. I like, listen, I get some of the line, like I get it.
The passion burns hot. I understand.
Listen, you people don't even know when that fire's inside of you. Yeah.
I just hope you would fight that hard for us as you do against us.
Well, listen, first off,
I don't know.
First off, I've tried to invite you all to, okay? And two of you have spit in my hand. Wow. Look at Jaime and I. Look at us. We become the tag team duo.
How happy you are! Yeah.
No one thought it was going to happen. Look.
So, and I will say, as our bond has grown stronger, Eli and I both become more bitter. So I'm not sure.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Dave, all the time, I'm like, hey, guy, what you need? What you need, guy? I got you.
All I remember is like you're gonna taste ash in your mouth.
That's with the antler thing.
That's different.
Listen,
it's
for those of you playing bingo at home, we've had Golden Corral, we've had Hoop Talk, and we've had fucking.
We've cleared them.
It's almost like the Hatfield and McCoys. Not only do they hate each other's families, but they all hate each other. But that family better not fuck with their own. Hey, listen, Dave deserves my revenge, but Dave, I would walk to the ends of the earth for you. And John, even you, John, I don't make fun of you nearly as much as I did. I don't even make fun of you nearly as much as I did. So,
we're making progress. Okay.
See, that's what I mean. Remember, John, when I used to give you a hard time?
Asshole thing is what you're talking about.
Right. Right. And like that. So for all of you to like, listen, I would surely, for whatever reason, not thinking through the logistics of the math, I would take on 19 boys at once, tell them to fuck you up if they're throwing water balloons at you guys.
This is like an Anchorman like podcast brawl.
I would take on 19 guys is a pretty good.
I mean, I would fight. I would fight.
No, you already said it.
I would fight. You know what? You know what I like is how I'm trying to be nice right now, and I'm trying to show my appreciation for all of you.
Dave's gonna clip that out.
Get on my face.
Instagram for sure.
Get on my face.
Our Instagram reel is locked. Timestamp. It is recorded.
I have a real question about this movie.
Sure.
Oh,
like a real one. No, but and maybe it's because I wasn't paying attention. So I don't know. Caitlin, tell me. But like, why everybody in this movie who dies essentially like wrongs Angela, right? Like everybody has done so. Mm-hmm. It's kind of obvious. Like it's either the bully or they all are kind of bullies. So like, but does she not? And I'm like, does she not kill like the little kids who go camping? What did they do?
Mm-hmm. No. They threw that. See,
did they?
They threw sand. They're the ones that threw sand on her. Yeah.
When
on the dock.
Yeah, after they threw in the water.
Okay, I missed that.
Basically, the angle they take in the sequels, except for Return to Sleepaway Camp, which really doesn't have anything to do about her, and it's like, what's the point of making that?
I don't know if I saw it. What number is that?
The Return to Sleepaway Camp is technically number 4.
I think I've seen 2 and 3. I don't
2
think
and 3, if you look with her whole character arc is she kills everybody who's not the perfect camper. Like that's the angle they went.
That's there. Yeah. But I'm talking about in the first one. In the first one, it's everybody who's bullying her and mean to her.
But to your point, Jamie, I thought the exact same thing. Like, why did she murder a bunch of 8-year-olds?
A whole bunch of little children. I was like, I thought there was in my head, I was like, there's nothing they could have done. Like, what did they do? And I missed the thing. I saw her get thrown in the water. I was paying attention, but like, I don't know. I missed the kids doing anything. And then I was just like, did I miss the age? Like, I'm pretty sure they were little kids. Like, I'm just like, I got all over the place. I was like, were they like, am I missing who was out in the woods here? Because
I like that they sleep in like a giant pile. They're like, can we go home? It's like, that is how
we're dying.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I did not. I literally wrote it down because I was confused on what they did to her. That like, because everybody else is obvious. Like everybody else.
It's funny because like Judy is terrible. Like she's the worst. I hate her. But at the same time, like when Angela is first in the cabin and she's like, at Judy, you're like, okay, you're not making it easy for yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you're being a little weird. But at the same time, it's like, she's just different. Okay. And we know that there's a reason why she's got some trauma and shit like that. But it's like,
she's not helping your situation.
She's not. And I went back and forth on that. Judy was
the wrong person to do that to.
I went back and forth on that because I was just like, okay, she's being bullied. They don't know what's going on in her personal. You never know what someone's going through. That's a statement that everybody says, whatever. But then I'm just like, she's not making it easy. Like you just said, when she comes into the cabin, she just stares at another girl, and just stares at her in like a very uncomfortable way. And you're just like, okay, you could be weird. That's totally fine. But don't purposely makes it like she feels like she's sometimes purposely making other people feel uncomfortable. And it's like, you're gonna get it if you're gonna literally sit there and look at the world's biggest bitch like that. And like when she asks you to stop looking at her and you continue to do it.
Yeah.
Now you're antagonizing.
I mean, I don't know about you, but like I've had friends like that where they're like, they don't have a lot of friends and like a lot of people don't like them to like, you have to kind of get known. But then it's like, they're like, I don't know, I don't have friends. And I'm like, well, maybe you should quit eating your pudding cup with your finger. Like grab a spoon. Like people find that weird. He's like, what? You're like, just use a spoon, man. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's also hard as children. We all know, like, I mean, it gets harder now too as any age. And I'm not trying to, but like you do anything weird as a kid and you're weird. And so now Angela shows up and she will not speak to a soul and she won't eat and she won't participate in shit. And she, and it's just like,
and like the girls are like, why does she get a special meal? And there is a certain point where you're like, okay, again, you're not making it easy on yourself. At the same time, like we didn't recognize then in the 80s, like Angela could have been neurodivergent or severely traumatized.
Yes, like,
and it's like, those things weren't handled properly back then. And she did not get, there was that one nice counselor that's like, she's just a little bit different. Like let her do her thing.
But that's the thing. Kids don't care. Kids don't give a shit. No. They just see weird.
Like, Meg, a horrible person, like just as bad as Judy, and trying to fuck the camp director who's like 1,000 years old. I was just like, what?
Weirdest freaking plot line.
He doesn't even hit on her. She hits on him.
And she's so excited
weird.
about it.
And then he's like,
I got a date tonight.
Have you guys seen Meg? Can you tell her to call me?
Every scene with him was the worst. Because like he literally goes, he's like literally finds her and he goes, or before she dies, that whole thing where he like a leaf falls, he's like, oh, it's Ricky killing all these people. And then it's presented that he made that plan with Judy and them to throw Angela into the lake so he could accost Ricky about murdering somebody, not going to the police, not turning it in, but slapping around a 12-year-old because he thinks he's a murderer, even though like some of these murders are like quite clearly gruesome. And like his first thought's like that 12-year-old boy. Granted,
12-year-old girl, yeah.
But at time like for him, and then like he beats him to death like a gorilla. And like but then he's not dead, but like and he's like, I gotta run away. And he's like doing that weird, like it almost looks like he's doing the bat tootsies, but running. Like every time he's on screen, I'm like, I hope a car comes off screen and hits him. Because I hate him so much.
Do you know that I was just going to say that that actor, Mike Kellin, he had terminal lung cancer when he was acting in this. He died before the production
this was his movie
actually released. Yeah.
I thought you were about to tell me somehow he was in Antlers. and I was going to put my head through my wall.
In what universe would he
why
have
even bring
lived
this
that
up?
long?
Yeah.
Listen,
well, since we know you're going to do that, he was in Antlers.
Listen, Dave has me
He was
scarred
the antler.
because there was how
He
many
was the antler.
how many episodes?
Eli
One
has
antler.
deep antler
One
trauma.
Yeah, we went. I think Dave went on a 9-month thing where every episode he would sneak in antlers.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I've never.
I do, Dave. Every day, I do. And then then I went on a tirade off on it once, and then somehow in a Christmas episode, I ended up coming out sounding like an elf, which I didn't find out about until 2 months ago.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah, you know what happened.
I almost loved it. I almost as much loved when you found out about it because oh my god,
Yeah.
like you're
Just like 2 months ago.
That's so
I
weird.
was there. I was there, but
Did you have a cold or something? What was going on, bud? You feel
Revenge
The
better?
will be
mic
mine.
was a little funky. You know, none of us have mentioned yet explicitly that Judy gets killed by shoving a hot curling iron.
No,
in her
we didn't.
vagina.
That's-
We've been waiting, okay, Caitlin. We want
It
to
was
build
me-
up to this.
I had to bring it up because of the whole like vagina thing.
Obviously.
That's my bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Jaime
mean-
will be happy. I wrote it down in
Insane.
my notes as the Kukulina curling iron.
yeah, that's for Stacy.
Right
Right up her Kukalina.
that scene makes me uncomfortable because like I don't think anybody told Judy like you're being murdered.
Yeah, she-
like whatever noises she was making, those weren't murder noises.
No,
and
she's
then
had
like
a little too much fun before it
right,
starts.
and then
I
there's
don't
like
know what's
so
going
and, like you got punched in the face with the weakest punch and like punched into whatever those noises were, and then start doing there's hand shadow puppets, and we're still making those noises, presumably while you're being burned from the inside out. So like it's
Oh,
the whole
it's
thing
you.
makes me
Oh, it's you.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Angela, the girl that plays Judy is doing like stage acting
Mhm.
where she's like, yeah, you are the worst. And it's
Yeah.
like, you are like blocking to an insane degree.
She is acting to the back row.
Yes, 1,000%. Like she just, not the,
Everything she does.
she was
Yeah.
new to this whole concept, I think. But I don't know, man. I every
I'm
time
here
I see
for it.
that, I'm like, holy shit.
So
They went for it. And it was very like, they're like, how can we do this? How can we do this where it's still fucked up, but we don't get banned? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't show
Shadows.
anything. They don't. Yeah, they don't show.
We know
anything
exactly
in
what
their
happened,
defense.
but-
We know,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like, but so I have a question about that scene and not about what everybody prefers to talk.
I hope
to,
it's the
but
same question I have. Go
Is
ahead.
it that they reveal the killer in that scene?
Yeah.
Because of
Mhm.
it's because when I think Joe Bob did this, and that's probably the first time I watched it. And when Joe Bob did it, I think it's the remastered or whatever. It's because they brightened
It's too
everything.
clear now.
But like, how do you not fix that? Like, how do you not go back in and fucking dim down that scene? Because they literally give away the killer 2 scenes before we get a twist ending to this movie. That
They-
like
Is that
besides her
Ricky or
being the
Angela?
killer, then you need. It's just like it's a weird. It's like I remember that the last time I watched it, and I like had to bring it up again because it's just like, why did they not go back and fix this? Like,
Yeah.
why
They
did they
give it-
not?
They give it away when she drowns that boy under the canoe because you can see her pink barrette in her hair when she comes up out of the water.
I don't remember that, but
It's
like,
hanging off the side of her head. Like it's almost like
I
they're
didn't
like,
even notice
"Hey,
that.
take that out." She went, "Okay," and got like it halfway out of the way. Nah, fine.
So like I didn't see that. So but that's a little different, Eli, than having her walk face in. Like
Yeah.
literally, like they show her in the doorway, well lit, standing, and you're like, oh, it's Angela. And then
Well-
they just continue. Like we don't know.
Probably
You know,
because Judy apparently didn't know she was being murdered in that scene. And then to your point, Kellin, about the way she was blocking stuff, another little fun trivia for you. Her and Angela were best friends, and she cried every night about how she had to treat
No
her character.
way.
Yeah. And apparently, like she would act goofier or over eccentric. That's the only way she'd get through it. Because, like, especially the scene where like they threw her in the water. Apparently, it took them a lot of takes to get through that because she kept busting out crying.
No.
Yeah, they were buddies. And you know what? The fact that Judy having talk about camp and like the gay fanfare around Judy, a shirt with her own name on it.
I fucking
I was
love
like,
it. I want
oh,
that shirt.
That's the
My
move.
God.
Yeah.
I was like,
don't have
And in
a-
God.
Copper Sands too.
Yeah, bold.
Dude, I'm
Bold.
into it.
Yeah, who does
All
that?
caps.
Incredible.
That girl does that.
Judy.
Aren't there people like that at camp? There's people like that at everything. Like the person,
Yeah, who
that,
the
like,
hell
they
wears their
know
own
who
merch?
they are. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
know,
I
know
mean-
that they are the shit as far as it comes to this place. Like Judy knows who she is in this camp, and you don't fuck with Judy unless you actually fuck Judy. I guess that's about it. But like,
Judy's be a 12-year-old boy to get on that ride, though.
Yeah.
Everyone hates behind the scene. It's like everyone hates Judy. She's such a bitch, and it's like, yeah, she gets away with it, but we all fucking hate her. So.
Right. Yeah.
All right, question for you. If you get that shirt, do you get your own name or do you get Judy?
See, that's the thing. I feel like if you were at like a horror con and you got it and it was the same font and same color and it said John, people would get it. If you were out and about, even if it said Judy, people wouldn't get it. I don't know. Never mind. Do whatever makes your heart happy.
I'm going to get Eli one that just says duty.
You know what?
And you'd wear it, I bet.
100%. I can't tell you how many work meetings I'm on with the hoodie of the Campfire Tales with me in my underwear and my crown. and how many times I'm on camera and people go, what's on your hoodie? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, is that a guy in his underwear surrounded by monsters? I went, like, who is it? I'm like,
no, that is a leader of men in his underwear.
It's me. Is the
I'm
better
like,
idea.
I'm like, it's me. And like, I always get that. And then they just move on, and I'm like,
I have to say, and not to toot my own horn, but the Campfire Tales logo came out better than I expected it to. That's a lot of fun.
It's very good.
The fact that you were willing to take that risk
for you,
I don't see a risk.
My underwear and a crown.
After having known you a month, drawing.
That's right. After a month, you were willing to explore that artistic side.
Hey, I just got that.
What happened?
What kind of inspo photos did you send, Dave?
Don't worry about it.
All from his mind.
That's fair.
There's an airtight contract that.
No, I don't know what's worse: the fact that I didn't send any, and that was all in his mind, or that he wants to pretend that I'm not like a little bug, just burrowed right in there.
I bet Mary sent him a couple photos.
I've been drawing French ladies for years. So.
Are you comparing me to one of your French ladies? Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
Your heart will go on, Eli.
Oh, you're just embarrass yourself.
Well, all joking aside, and I didn't know where Jaime landed on it. I had a pretty good idea where Eli would land on it. John, you're sort of the X factor, but I knew that
X factor.
There have been enough movies throughout 23 that are goofy, and different people are triggered by them. And that's the thing that mystifies me to this day. Like, we had a very, very different, but also equally passionate debate about Cocaine Bear, which is a stupid movie that some of us were here for, and it had less to do with the content of the movie and more to do with the experience of seeing the movie. And I think that's kind of where I land on this movie too. I think it holds a special place in my heart because it's a lot of fun when I'm with fun people to have on, and to hear them say these awful lines and to laugh my ass off when a guy gets boiled alive and then his sous chef gets offered $15 more a week to keep his mouth shut, and he goes, okay.
Yeah, like, sure.
Once again, in his underwear.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, and I get it. It's like going to a comedy show. Not everybody's going to laugh at the same jokes. It's just a different kind of thing. Like, and I mentioned it earlier, the Maximum Overdrive thing. That's one that didn't hit for me, but holds a very special heart. And I know, at least, because obviously I'm old enough that this could have had a nostalgia goggle thing going on, but I didn't see this movie until like the last decade. So it's not a nostalgia thing in that effect, but it is a nostalgia thing in that it was a movie that has a sweet memory kind of attached to it. So
I 100% think two things. If I saw this when I was younger, and which most likely would have been with friends, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would be something different for me now. And I still wouldn't turn down like a screening or something fun of this, where there's like a party atmosphere, or like you're saying, like, I know Felissa Rose hosts these things, like any of that, like, and because, especially with her, I think because of what this movie means to her, but like any of those situations, I think makes this movie different for me, or at least, and I even think, again, not liking it, I think I could still enjoy that second scenario. Like if there is some screening of this and we went, or like, you know, you go, you know what I mean? Because it's not offensive to me. It's not like it's an offensive movie to me. It just doesn't hit for me.
It's a nothing movie.
I'm not going to watch it. Yeah, I'm not going to like watch it. But it's like, it has that potential, you know, to be fun in the right.
Yeah, it's not
setting,
as grandiose as something like Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it has a lot. It has some similar things to celebrate,
fanfare.
some
like,
goofiness. Yeah.
Oh, there
there's
absolutely is. Yeah.
And it's fun. And it's also, I just want to say, I know our podcasts have different themes, but what fun that Cocaine Bear and Sleepaway Camp covered on both of ours.
Boom.
Boom.
Evil Dead, 2013.
Evil Dead. There's a lot of overlap there. I liked Cocaine Bear.
I know. We're in the right setting right now because now it's 3 versus 2 right now.
Ooh, we should talk about that real quick. Let's just take a quick vote.
I mean, you can talk about it.
That's what Eli did when Jeff was on.
Oh, yeah.
I did do that. I did do that. I will say this, though. I do find it funny that a lot of these people from the 80s that did these movies have managed to make a career out of that one character. Because the guy plays Tommy in Friday the 13th Part 6 did the same thing, and he's in so many fan fiction movies as Tommy, and then he's played Tommy again. Never Hike Alone 2 just came out this weekend, and he's still Tommy. Like, that's all he did after that. That man played Tommy for 40
that's like
years.
Special to horror. Like, I was saying the same thing about the Child's Play franchise. Like, I don't know, spoilers for the Chucky series, but like, fucking, what's her name? She plays Tiffany,
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly. The guy the kid who played Alex, like they all come back. Fiona Dourif, Brad Dourif, like there's dedication there, and you don't see that in other genres. And it's just like, why not? Like, you know, like let them cash in on it, let them ride with it. Like, it's just kind of sweet. I don't know.
It bothers me that Felissa Rose wasn't in the other ones in a way, just because of what she's rode that, like that, like and again, more power to her for taking just the first one. And going with it, but like it bothers me that it isn't even her series, like in a way, like like it's not. It is because she is the first iconic one, but like for, as you said, some people like 2 better, and some people like it bothers me that she's not even in the, like she didn't get to carry the series because like it's just an odd thing that like it's only the first one is her, and then she's in a lot of horror. I mean, she is in a lot, and like we said, she shows up on everything, and she's on Joe Bob, and she was in Terrifier 2 for 2 seconds. And like, you know, she's in the only bad Hatchet, Victor Crowley. Like she's there. She's always there. But like,
she's an icon. And she has embraced the community as much as embraced her. I think that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
So
I wish I could have that career, and I'm not even joking. Like, I wish I could make a career out of being like in horror, like one
selling out a theater to watch your movie. When I say good
role, but you know what I mean? One role that puts you into horror conventions and just show up these things where you have fans that like can't wait to just talk to you and take a stupid picture while she makes that stupid face. Although her mouth must hurt after a time. Like, I don't know. She makes that face like all the time, and she still does it. And it's just like,
I mean, she has to. She got to earn that paycheck.
Listen,
that's what the people showed up for.
You've got one job to do.
Listen, Jamie, you ain't lying. My dream job would literally just be go around from auditorium to auditorium, just talking about aliens and cryptids and like conspiracy theories. I don't even charge that much.
I mean, Eli, you got a public library, right?
Listen. That's a sacred place, and there are children there.
That's the sacred place.
There are children there, and I want them to hold on to their innocence, and that the world's going to be okay.
You don't want
as
them
long
to
as
learn?
possible.
Yeah,
I do.
You could teach them the truth.
Wait, listen. No 6-year-old should have to know that it's all doomed and we're fucked. Right. Like, listen, that defense system is tried, true, and tested. Okay.
I don't need to know more.
No, you need to know.
I'm looking at my notes, but I don't think I think I'm like.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Sleepaway Camp?
No, just how awesome the guy's clothing in this movie is.
It's so good.
I know you said it up top, but like I just like every scene, it got better. And well, I don't know, because like the nipple crop top is maybe peak for me. I can't decide. It's like that one, or it's when Jean comes out with the red shorts and the tight oh my God, and the tight
So
white shirt.
why is his entire body shaved? Like, no shame. But I was like, especially because this has been restored, like we talked about, maybe not so great because it gives away some things.
He's
I was
slick.
like, this man is hairless. I was like, your name is Gino. I expect you to be a little hairy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God damn, this man is smooth.
Parted
You know
down
what,
the middle, feathered hair.
Mhm.
No.
It's crazy because like I think it happened more often. Like I was a wrestler all throughout high school.
Oh yeah.
Dropping a humble brag, but like I know a lot of the coaches talked about how like the wrestlers, like it wasn't a thing when I wrestled, but like in the 70s, 80s, a lot of those guys would shave because the mats were shittier, and it would just rip out large chunks of your hair while you're wrestling, like your leg hair and arm hair. So a lot of wrestlers would shave.
Well, I
And so
mean,
you could easily get ringworm.
Gene is athletic. You could tell.
He's
I
a
mean,
ringworm anyways.
think he is. I don't.
Those muscles didn't make themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, just from his build, my assumption was that he was a bodybuilder.
That man was juicing. You know he was.
Oh,
and he was so
juicing
nice
with
too.
the power of hard work.
yeah. Well, and to the
Kellin.
joke we keep making, I mean, all of the guys in this are subverted masculinity. Even him, who's like this brick house build guy, he's like the mother hen. He's the one who's really concerned about everybody.
He's like, why don't we get you some ice cream? Like, pat, pat, pat.
First, I'm going to leave you in the closet with the pedophile. I'll be right back.
That's
I'll be
weird.
right
Yeah,
back.
look, his shorts leave nothing to the imagination.
No.
Jeans, nothing that Gene wears. It might as well be invisible. If like it just. I mean, the chef thing, and like we touched on it. It's not, and I get it, it's just for a movie, but like one of the first things I wrote was like, how does this man even get this job? Like, how does he
Back
have
then you
this
didn't
job?
have
Work release from prison.
You didn't have to have background checks for certain things back
Yeah,
then.
but he
Like,
got to have gotten caught just flirting. Like he
Did you see
openly
Mel?
Flirts.
I was
Like,
going to say, Mel, I don't think is checking references.
not the most
or-
scrupulous of employers.
You
That
can
guy was
pay
willing to
me
be-
$5 less each week if you don't look into my background.
comes out
Done.
buckling his belt, like, and doesn't even hide it, like literally in front of the other
and that's
chef.
why
He's
Ricky's
just
like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, get
and then
him, Ricky.
and then he's still buckling when he comes out, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, he is just as he has a smell about his acting.
I mean, at least he's the first to go, like immediate.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you know what? He doesn't die though, and that's the thing too. If you
Oh,
really
you're
think
right.
about
They
this
take him to
movie,
the hospital.
I want him to
Exactly.
suffer.
but if you think about this movie technically shouldn't have went past the first 15 minutes because he wasn't dead. He was making noises, and they're like, "Who did this to you?" And all you had to say was, "Angela." Like,
Okay, when
movie
you're like
over.
blind, they'd say that he doesn't know if he has eyesight anymore. He's literally sitting there burning to death. Like, you think
He's
gonna
lost
literally
his mind
Say
in
out
pain,
her
yeah.
name. He probably doesn't even remember it. He's
If
met her
it
for 2
was
seconds.
me, the vengeance. I'd be
Okay.
screaming.
He's
That'd be the
definitely
only
gonna
name I
die.
could scream.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
Burns get infected so easily. He's gonna die, and he deserves it. But it's also like, what am I gonna be like? Oh, sorry, the little girl I was molesting.
Yeah,
or
it's-
tried to molest.
Or how
was
do you
burning
think
it-
of that?
Push
He's
me.
dying. You don't even think to say that. Like, you're
If I got
literally in
pushed
so
into
much
a giant
agony.
Listen,
Eli,
Yeah,
I
the
am
whole mechanics
so-
Are
about
you
that
trying to
fall
relate
makes
to a
I am.
pedophile right now?
First off, I am not. Secondly, I am so petty. I would. Oh, I would.
Are you so
I'm
petty
that
you
guy.
would file a complaint?
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. How dare you? You should all be ashamed and embarrassed. All except for Jamie. She's cool. Rest of you, shamed and embarrassed.
Wow.
Eli, what the hell? I was
Exactly.
in your corner.
No,
Wicked Whispers.
you were until today. Or until we got to this movie, and then what'd you
Wow.
do? You came and you just shit all over and said I was
did- I shit
boring.
nowhere.
You
I shit
said I was
nowhere.
boring, is what you said, and I'm the least boring
Can
person
you
I
have
know.
a little whimsy in your heart, Eli?
I
Can
have
you have a
none.
little whimsy in your
No
heart for
whimsy.
Sleepaway Camp?
Yeah, we've long agreed that he hates fun at this point. He has given
I
up
do.
on fun completely.
So-
We did. We
worst.
realized that at many movies.
Yeah.
and
As soon
Eli
as
hates fun.
Dave asked me to do Wicked Whispers, and I've made it my life goal
Oh,
to dig into this stuff and keep the pulse on what's going on in the world.
We'll take it away in season 3.
Don't you dare. It's all I got to live for now.
Wow.
We'll find something else. 'Cause
This is not healthy. This is not a
You created this monster, Dave.
we're going to fix it.
I'm just going to start walking like this all the time now.
Any other thoughts? I do have one last thing because it's our final episode of Camp Wicked Wild. And I
Okay.
know, or at least that's what she's told me. And unfortunately, she is missing one because it hasn't come out as of the time of this recording. But let's do our individual rankings of our Year of the Wiener
Oh,
performance for each of the Camp Wicked Wild movies. And I'll start with John. Rank them from a strictly
Wienery
perspective.
From the wiener
are you
aspect.
saying take it from shaft to tip?
Favorite to least, yeah, sure.
No one said that.
I didn't say that, but sure.
But that's what you want.
What movie?
So what's the top part? The shaft or the tip?
Tip's top.
I don't.
Put him in order.
Why are you engaging that? So to answer your question, Caitlin, the one that's missing that you've probably seen is Deathgasm.
I was gonna say, for me, Mandy's tops.
Wait, are you going by wienery though, or you're just picking your favorite movie? Because
Dave said favorite. Are we going wieners?
I thought you said wiener. Your favorite wiener.
Favorite from a wiener perspective.
Yeah, from a yeah.
I'll still go with Mandy. Then Deathgasm. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting one? Scouts is there, but that's like from a wiener perspective, the wiener's pretty epic in that. But, Piranha. Yeah. No, Piranha's 3, then Sleepaway Camp, and then Scouts is last.
Scouts is last. You don't like that Tarzan dick, huh?
That's the biggest wiener in the whole thing.
I mean, hey,
it's whimsical.
That's fair. It is whimsical.
All right, Jamie, what about you?
I'm going wiener, not movies. I think Scouts has to go first. I mean, I said it when we even watched that. I wasn't sure that one was going to top grabbing a wiener for literally like 7 minutes of the movie and hanging on. Like, it's like, I mean, that is the biggest wiener we've seen in Year of the Wiener. I'm not ranking movies, but like either way, Mandy's going to be last. I guess Scouts. I guess Piranha. Like of all the movies, Bull Piranha's number 1, and then Deathgasm. So I'm getting, but like, yeah, I guess Scouts, Piranha, Mandy's last, and then what is it? This
and
Camp
Deathgasm.
And Deathgasm. Fuck. Like the whole twist of this is a wiener. So all right. Exactly. Sleepaway Camp.
Ooh.
I'm not ranking movies, Dave.
I
Sleepaway Camp. And then where was it? Deathgasm, which is what I would have at the top, almost the top of, and then Mandy. God, please, I don't even want to think about that movie.
The metal wiener.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, Eli, what about?
Listen. Deathgasm does not have the longest wiener, but it has the most wieners with the most utility. So Deathgasm's number 1.
It wins out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the dildos and shit. Oh,
that's what I mean.
They have a lot of wieners.
The most wieners with the most utilities.
You're right. Oh my god.
Right, it's fine though. So Deathgasm's number 1. Scouts is number 2 because it does have the longest wiener. Then it gets weird for me because like I would have. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm about to say this. 3 would have to be Piranha because there is some point to the wiener.
How would you?
Is it 3D or 3 double D for you?
You son of a bitch. As the wiener was bitten off, so like there was a point to the wiener. I would then have to say Mandy because at least he did something with his wiener because at one point he was rubbing it on those rocks. So at least there's some utility in a weird way. And then last would be Sleepaway Camp because it was just a lonely.
I mean, it is. You're right. Yeah, but it's like the twist of the movie, so I feel like I got to give it.
But it's just an important wiener.
It's
not really.
Wiener.
I mean, it's just like it's just
for the
like,
movie. It is.
It is the twist.
Yeah, but like we all like if you don't like care for the movie, and then like it cuts to like there's a wiener. It's not doing anything, you know.
With Felissa Rose's head just on top.
and making that weird grudge noise, like. And then by
the
that
noise
point,
never made sense to me. It never made sense.
And it covers up the wiener because you're like, who cares about a wiener? Is she having a seizure? Like, what's going on? So like, this is the weakest wiener.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and to that point, and we didn't really talk about it in the actual talking about this movie, but I do agree that there was some actor direction that seemed really weird. Like there was some. It seemed like there was some directorial influence that was making for some weird choices on some of the acting.
Like if I was directing that, I'd be like, why are you making that noise?
And why do you keep touching your chin and saying the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? And they're like, I don't know. They're like, well, just stop that. But he was just like, oh, making a fucking weird noise. Okay.
So for me, the ranking for this year's Camp Wicked Wild Year of the Wiener season is number one is Piranha. It just cracks me up every time. No matter how many times I see it and his little skeleton legs and him screaming about his dick. It's too good for me. Then it's going to be Mandy for me, just because that whole movie is penile. And then I'm going to go Scout's Guide, then Sleepaway, and then Deathgasm.
Oh, wow. Deathgasm's last? Okay.
Yeah, Deathgasm's last. Just because a lot of those literally are artificial wieners.
They are. That's what I think I kind of forgot. I was thinking the wiener, and all I could think was the scene with
wiener's a wiener.
I understand, but no, a dildo is no. A
really
wiener
are.
Is it shaped like a wiener?
But a dildo is not a wiener.
Does it look like a wiener?
If
it looks like a duck and it's shaped like a duck, then it must be a wiener duck.
What makes a
there's
wiener?
A bigger conversation than these guys.
What makes a wiener in a horror?
Hey, everybody, join us on our new podcast series coming out.
Wiener
What's a wiener?
What's a
Wiener
wiener?
Talk, where we're going to break down and decide what's a wiener made of.
Honestly, so sad when Year of the Wiener is over, just for the record.
You could do a whole separate podcast on
I think I should.
Full frontal.
Oh, it could be a cross collaboration with
Hanging Dong.
Yeah.
Oh, Hanging Dong. That's a
Wicked
great
Wang.
show.
Wicked
Oh
Wang.
my God.
That's too good.
All right, Caitlin, rank us out. You're the unbiased third party. Yours, we'll say, is the official ranking.
Oh no, I don't want to do that. And to be honest, I've seen Deathgasm once, and I honestly don't remember much of the wiener stuff. So until I hear the episode and can like be refreshed, or if I rewatch it, I have that at last just because like it wasn't memorable enough for me to be like, have that. Yep. So that's sitting at the bottom for me. Mandy, controversial in this crowd. Mandy is my favorite movie of all of these, but Eli looks furious. But it's going to sit at number 4 in terms of wienerdom for me because like Jeremiah is, he is a dick, but whatever. Scout's Guide is coming in at the middle because that is a really awesome wiener scene and it's very funny. For number 2, I'm going to do Piranha 3D because I love the Piranha movies.
So do we. You're in good. Well, Dave and you're in good company. Eli never watched it, so we don't know.
I've watched it before. I just didn't rewatch it. Okay.
Our favorite new meme, though.
It is very good, and I'm having Sleepaway Camp at number 1 because it kind of, I don't know. It's the whole reason this movie is like notable and continues to have a presence because this like twist, and like I said, I don't care that much about the twist anymore, but it made it that's what got us here.
Yeah. I mean, that made this movie like, I mean, come on. If you heard about this movie, like I had before I saw it, it was because.
Yeah. Without that twist, they projected so much that it was Angela that was already ruined. Like, even if you saw this in 83, you knew it was Angela. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, killer girl, cool kills, whatever. But the reason that it stuck around is because of that ending shot. So I'm yes.
Oh, show.
Or there, not to go back. I know we're done and I'm great. I want to close out on the wiener talk, but I do have one question. Are there actually any red herrings in this movie? No, it's like blatantly Angela, right? Like there's not a soul. They try Ricky, but the only person who believes that is the camp counselor. Yeah, like, okay, that's all. Like there's nobody they try and pin it on, really. Yeah. Unless it's just a Jason, like an other party. Okay, that's all. Sorry, back to wieners though, because I much prefer
I think, and to the point about the Friday the 13th comparison we made earlier, is because of the angle that they shoot when the kills are happening. There could be a sense that somebody could say, "Did Aunt Martha come to camp?" And because we already know she's sideways a little bit. Maybe there's a Mother Voorhees situation going there. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of anybody else that they really presented.
Yeah,
to
nobody. Us. Yeah, okay.
All right, so this week's Dave's Critter Corner. Any guess?
A wiener?
Oh, wait.
It is about
a bee.
The Homo sapien penis. No, just kidding. Also known as Dingus Delingus. Now, this week, there was an animal. Does nobody remember the animal?
The bee?
The prominent animal? No, there were the bees. That's a good point. There were bees as well. It's the northern water snake.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best framed
great shot, like crawling, like slithering through the face.
It's fantastic. So
right. Okay, fine.
So the northern water snake can be found in found from Southeast Maine to North Carolina, all the way west to Colorado. So it's available in a huge area, which can be problematic for a snake, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But as an adult, it can reach a length range from 24 to 42 inches. So it can get to be pretty big. Often mistaken for venomous water moccasins, also known as cottonmouths, and killed. But those snakes, like water moccasins, cottonmouths, whatever you want to call them, they don't live this far north. They don't share regions with each other. I think the water moccasin only gets to like Southwest Virginia, is as far north as they actually get. But people panic because this is an animal that's brightly colored that has diamonds on its back. So people just assume it's venomous, and they unfortunately kill them. But they also can be confused with copperheads that do share the same region that the northern water snake inhabits. But just for those that are in those areas, copperheads are not water snakes. You won't find them in the water. You might find them near a creek or something, but you won't find them swimming in the water and stuff like that, like you would a water snake. They live in wetlands like lakes, ponds, streams, rivers, swamps, etc., like that. Their primary diet is fish, but they can also eat frogs, toads, salamanders, insects, crayfish, and some rodents. And this confused me. I mean, I got this off of National Geographic, but for some reason, I don't know if you noticed, but they actually listed frogs and toads as two totally separate things. Like they must be making some presumption that those are different animals, which is very confusing to me because I thought we cleared up on Campfire Tales. They're the same thing. That those
what?
Are different things, right? I just thought it was weird that they listed them both separately.
Listen, not everybody is as enlightened as I am with the truth. Okay.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying.
When I saw that list, that just triggered me for a minute.
You know what I don't understand? I try to be so nice and I try to have this close moment with everyone. And then
you told me to eat shit and die in our last episode.
But I did tell you in this episode.
Dave, did you come to eat shit and live?
I said gaslighter shit.
In this episode,
I didn't abuse you this time.
In this episode, I said I would run to the ends of the earth for you.
On your mark, get set, go.
And I don't remember saying eat shit and die.
Of course you don't.
I don't think because last episode was Deathgasm, and I was in a pleasant mood.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was two. It was Mandy. It was the last one I listened
to. That's probably what I told you to eat shit and die.
Contentious. Dave, there's a park really near my apartment complex, and there's it's the James River is in it. And every time I go down to the little floating dock that they have that you can stand on, and some people get in the water, some people fish from it, whatever. I just like to stand on it and kind of chill. But every time I go down there, I see, I don't know if it's this snake, but I see some snaky snakes in the water.
Some water snakes.
And I'm not snakes don't freak me out per se, but I'm always I don't want that brushing up against me in the water.
Yeah, you go
snakes
that way and I'll go this
though.
way.
I used to have one.
They don't freak me out. I went to the reptile expo here in Richmond with all the cool people.
Very cool.
And but
I would go to that.
Yeah, it was neat. They don't freak me out. They're just in that's where they live. I'm gonna be that's you. I'm gonna not be in your space, bro.
Yeah. Well, and the next fact is one of the things that creeps me out. And I've been around enough snakes, and I know the benefit that they have to an ecosystem. So I'm happy to leave them alone. My wife, on the other hand, it's near medical. Her phobia for snakes, she just needs them all to die or not exist in her universe. So we just don't talk about all the ones that I see around our house that are taking care of our mice and moles and all that kind of stuff. But the next fact is moles. Yeah, they love them. But the northern water snake it is a live young birther. It's not an egg laying snake that gives live birth, but the broods that it births are 20 to 50 snakes at a time. And I've had a couple of experiences where I've kicked over a rock and found a brood of baby snakes
snakes.
It's it's like the spider nightmare where you squish a spider and all the baby spiders. Millions of them.
That's where my phobia comes in.
Yeah. I'm Medusa for Halloween this year in my head.
Cool.
Are you?
Snakes.
Yeah. Oh, how cute.
It looks like the baby snakes.
I love snaky snakes. I had one.
I'm with Jamie though. As your darling wife is to snakes, I am to ticks.
Oh, okay. So you and Ari
likes a
Aster,
tick.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here like
nobody
does anybody
likes a tick, but like I'm like I have like
I should say she has a phobia.
You
She's
react
afraid
to
of them. Like,
that's one of the reasons I don't
Same.
like to camp. Like it's
Me with
gonna fall in
spiders.
my hair from the trees.
Yeah.
It's gonna crawl up
Burn
my
them
legs.
all.
Yeah.
It's rough. But snaky snakes are fine. Snaky snakes are cute.
Little tongues.
they're fun.
I had a snaky snake until I hit 14 or 15 and realized
Is that a snake, Dave?
No, that's half of my puppy who has crawled under my green screen and he's poked his head out. So it's like a headless pup. I was showing you a picture of a headless pup there. Anyway, so the last fact, and then we'll move on, of the northern wire snake that I thought was interesting is that they congregate together in the wintertime in what's called a brumate, which is where they pile on top of each other. But they don't hibernate. Brumation is different from hibernation in that they stay awake the entire winter, like for 4 months at a time. They just don't do anything. So literally a pile of snakes just breathing each other's farts.
Just laying.
That's what the kids at
Just
the
laying
campsite
there.
were doing.
Just
These little
cuddling.
kids.
They just cuddle all winter.
Basically.
And that's it.
That's why, like,
Kind of adorable.
I would have to clean the spring house out 3 times a year. And one of them
My
was
God.
one of them was right before winter because what you didn't want to do is they don't really move. But if like
but they pee and poop all winter.
They do, but like sometimes if like the cold, if it's a real deep cold or snow's getting in, they will adjust and you don't want them falling into the spring and then going into the pipe and then getting stuck in your plumbing.
Well, coming right up your toilet.
No.
Bite you right on the bung piece. The rusty sheriff's badge.
On the wiener.
Yeah, I know. How would you not make a wiener reference, especially with a snake? Like,
It
come
just
on.
seemed like low hanging fruit.
No, there is no
But
low hanging fruit on this podcast. Are you kidding me?
I like to keep this classy. You know what I mean?
Pretty much all low hanging.
But the interesting
That's
thing
what I
about
meant.
the,
Like, there's nothing too low.
exactly. Yeah.
all low.
There's no floor in this house. We'll put it that way. But the northern wire snake, when they brumate, they're called aggregations, is what these piles are called, and they can be found in earth dams, beaver lodges, or in mole tunnels where they have killed and consumed the friendly moles who created the tunnels that they now exist. What
about the mole king? Like, what happens to the?
I'm sure they took him out.
Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. Listen, I know how to deal with them sons of bitches, okay?
I just
cleaned up
couldn't
everybody
believe
else.
that the actual animal in this movie actually had a mole reference. It made me so happy that
it's
it
too
was
good.
too perfect.
I'm going to tell you right now, Eli. Listen, truces. I'm telling you, but a mole has nothing on a snake. I don't think nothing. Have you
Not a
felt a
chance
snake
in hell.
even try and mildly squeeze you? That's the only thing I would say about having a snake is like, I really liked it until it starts to squeeze and you start to think, shit, like if I don't get this thing off my wrist right now, I'm a little afraid of where this might go.
I would throw them out. I would have to crawl in. I would grab them and then I would crawl out backwards to basically chuck them down the valley. So like they would leave. And so like the whole time I'm like backing out, they're all like going around my wrist and stuff. And I'm like, how embarrassing would it be to be like, lose your hand because I backed out wrong and got stuck in the little spring door. And
mine used to love to go in like your belt loops, which is the freakiest thing. Cause like, it's just like, if it's like you're holding it and like, it's like going down or whatever, like it seemed to do that on everybody, like my dad, whatever, like it would just find a belt loop. And now it's like in your fucking belt loop and you're like, shit. And they get straw. Like when they don't want to move, they're just like, no. And you're not doing anything.
Yeah. They're just one big muscle.
And it's like,
well, that's kind of crazy because like I did have 2 naked mole rats and they used to like to ride on my shoulders, but they would wrap their neck or their tails around my neck. And that's how they hold stable. And so like you would go to move and I would feel it. Like it was like having a weird witch's finger.
You don't fuck around my neck either. I never put my snake near my neck ever.
That seems like a bad idea.
Yes. Anyway.
So Eli, what are we going to be following up Sleepaway Camp?
Listen,
to finalize our Camp Wicked Wild year of the big dicks.
I thought what better story to match up against serial killer, what you think is a serial killer girl with a twist ending, than do another famous dick serial killer that has a shocking twist ending that's just become known more recently. We're going to talk about Lizzie Borden.
Oh, okay.
Oh, when are you recording?
Tomorrow night, as of this recording. No,
like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You want to be part of that?
If I'm free, I'd like to be. I have a lot of Lizzie Borden.
Maybe if you're
knowledge.
if you're nice to me and apologize for the mean things you said to me.
What were you mean to him, Kate?
She said I was boring.
I was willing to share my research.
Said
with you.
I was boring.
You know, I don't think you're boring.
No, it hurt my feelings a little bit when you said it.
Wow.
But yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah, it'll be like 2 weeks. But yeah,
you said that this movie was boring.
Well, that's called the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I always speak the real truth.
My feelings. Well, I won't even share my cool Lizzie Borden trail knowledge with you then.
You will, and you'll be here, and you'll like it. So,
wow,
that's how that works.
Oh my God.
Because I'm the Mole King.
Crack the snake whip.
Shut this down.
So if you enjoyed Camp Wicked Wild this year, we hope you have. It's been a lot of fun for us. You know, obviously some of it's been very contentious, but I wouldn't want to spend my October with anybody else than these fine folks. And I've had a lot of fun. Even when we've argued semi-friendly, I guess is the best way I'll put that throughout the month. But we hope you've had a fantastic October. We hope you stretch your spooky season well into the future. We'll be excited next week to start singing our Christmas carols and making a bustle and helping Jaime and Eli find the true spirit of the holiday.
Listen, how about this, Dave? How about I'll make you a promise.
Why are you negotiating all these things?
So listen, because how about making?
I don't think there's any negotiating.
How about making a deal?
He is a man on the edge.
Yeah. How about making a deal? How about I will genuinely try and enjoy Christmas this year, and I will be festive, and I will be bright and happy and merry.
Doubt it.
If on the Wicked Wilds YouTube channel you do a tutorial video about making a corncob bird feeder. If you do that and take it serious and release it, I promise you,
I'm so going to do this.
I will enjoy Christmas so much so I will wear a Christmas sweater for every recording in December. Mm-hmm.
Do you own those, or would you have to purchase?
I would have to. I own one.
Do we
Christmas
even record
sweater.
in December?
No, he knows what he's doing.
No, we have Christmas episodes. So every episode that will be released in December, I'll have a Christmas sweater on.
Oh, that's release. Okay, so anything
that's released, right?
That's going to release in December.
Right. I'll be wearing a Christmas sweater.
I'm going to need a clear definition of take serious.
It has to be a serious.
Have to wear a suit or something?
No. But like the official Wicked Wild corn cob bird feeder tutorial video.
Oh,
and it has to be a minimum of 15 minutes long. So you have to have your corn cob. You gotta get your peanut butter.
Minutes.
You gotta have
Am I making the peanut butter or something?
Well, no, but like you gotta slide it on there, roll it, and then you have to show them hanging it up in your yard so the birds can enjoy. I think a 15-minute video is plenty of time.
Oh, you're getting this video. You're getting this video.
If you release that video in November,
it'll be out next week.
For every recording for December, I'll wear a Christmas sweater, and I promise you I will enjoy. So, you know what? I'll take it one step further, Dave.
Oh, man.
I'll take it one step further.
He's tripling down.
Not only...
I said I was going to do it.
Well, hold on.
Oh, my God.
If you do it and hang it up in your yard, if this, you don't have to post on the Wicked Wild. If you could get your family to all make one on the side, you take a family group picture of you all with your corncob bird feeders, I'll even get Christmas charms for my Crocs.
No one cares about that, though.
Yeah.
Everyone cares about it.
Nobody cares about.
Yeah, I'm not getting my family involved in this.
Dave, I will. How about this? I'll post a picture. I'll let you post a picture on all the Wicked Wild social medias.
So many caveats.
And my Christmas sweater.
Yeah, I don't know.
And wearing my Christmas Crocs.
Seems like I'm going to need to see a contract on that. But before we get to that, well, I'll start working on my video storyboarding because I have some ideas about some fan fiction that might come out of this as well.
I like this.
But we do want to thank our friend Caitlin from Plug It Up for joining us for the finale of Camp Wicked Wild. We kind of ran off the rails there at the end, but we are so glad that she joined us today. So what do you have going on for spooky season? And obviously Halloween's tomorrow, but what are you celebrating?
This was a busy spooky season, and I love it so much. I'm also relieved to have gotten things done. So I had my first live show, which was really fun. Did it at Nightmare Weekend, the convention here in Richmond, and that was definitely a highlight. And just been trying to work through the 2023 releases, honestly, to have some semblance of an accurate list ranked at the end of the year. So been working my way through. I don't. Do you guys think it's been a banger year for horror? I don't know.
No,
if it has. Yeah.
Not for me. And yeah,
No.
it's been a struggle. I think a lot of the stuff that I found, there's the new Sloth slasher movie.
Oh, I plan on watching that with my sister.
That I've got to watch. I haven't seen that one, but I did see what is the other one with the
Thanksgiving?
No, it's sort of like Malignant. Anyway.
Oh, no.
A lot of the stuff I've taken in, Caitlin, has been like B movie direct to streaming stuff, and that's been fun. But there's nothing that's really got me fired up. And I've only seen the first episode so far. So, and of the time of this recording, I'll probably have watched them all by the time this comes out. But Follow the House of Usher, I was really excited about that. And again, one episode in, but it hasn't hit yet. But I know that that's a lot of the universe building that he's doing. But I do have hope for that. That'll be my one genuinely spooky thing that I get out of the October.
Well, I will say, and it overlaps with the content that you guys do here. I had someone request that I cover Pig Lady, a 2023 release on Plug It Up. I try to at least find something genuinely kind to say about every movie. I'm afraid to even type the name. I'm so scared that the people that made it are going to find it and kill me.
Is it
I don't know. It's so bad. But
did you watch Pooh, Blood and Honey?
I didn't. I heard you did though.
I couldn't sleep and I watched it. And I really wish I hadn't and I could get that part of my life back.
I refuse.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed in myself.
Well, for folks that are like, oh, if by chance you liked my terrible performance here tonight, you're like, I'll look at Plug It Up. Pig Lady is what probably just came out on the Plug It Up feed at the time of this release.
Ooh,
and it's not always like that, I promise.
You're allowed to have opinions, Caitlin. Yeah. You're allowed.
I am.
We've learned that here.
I wish
we support opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you wanted a transitional, if you're used to our brand of nonsense, we did as a crew show up on Plug It Up for Evil Dead, which came out this summer. So you can go back in the backlog and find that one.
That was a good one.
For like 2 hours.
That was a good one. That was
like tonight too, I think.
That was like a family dinner, kind of like tonight. So it was just kind of the fun thing. But if I could make a recommendation, if you wanted that transition, that's a good one to start on. But
scroll back to Evil Dead 2013. Skip Pig Lady.
That's a good one.
And then go from there. Yeah. Then by the time you get to Pig Lady, you'll have a good sense of the awesome stuff that Kellin does. So on that point, as far as, sharing and promoting and loving on each other, there is a new thing I wanted to do real quick for our episode, and that's our free commercial. This is just something that I wanted to promote within the community, that they're not paying us. They don't even know that I'm doing this. It's just something that I've appreciated and been enjoying throughout my own stream. So each week we might shout out somebody, and I don't know that they listen to our podcast. I don't know if they intake any of our content, and that's not really the point, but just somebody I wanted to shout out. And this week's is Mill over at Midwest Monsters.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She's the coolest. She's so talented.
Yeah. If you go to Instagram and go at mid.westmonsters, West Monsters, one word. What she does is she does handmade and hand painted, like horror themed statues, and they're fantastic. And Eli has some, Caitlin has some. I don't know if anybody else has. Oh, okay.
I have 4 up here on my shelf.
I commissioned her to make me a Sauron, and now I'm about to go back to her and be like, you want to make Gandalf?
I saw Frodo on there. Is that yours as well?
No, that wasn't mine, but I almost sent her a message like, who the fuck else you making Lord of the Rings stuff for? I was your one and only.
So anyway,
I thought we had something special.
So if you're looking for any fun, one of a kind, like genuine art, because if you look at her stuff, it's just
she draws incredibly too. I just framed 3 of her drawings.
Yeah. So hasn't paid us, not asking for an endorsement, not asking for anything for in return, but something I am genuinely enjoying within my feed every week is the cool stuff that she's throwing out there. So go give a follow if you want to. Speaking of social media, if you want to follow us on social media, you can go to Twitter at WickedWildPR. Slasher, which is the horror only community at Wicked Wild We Are. Instagram, we're on at Wicked Wild Pod. And then we are releasing a video each week to accompany each movie review and campfire tale. And you can go to YouTube and find us just by typing in the Wicked Wild Podcast. If you have any questions, thoughts, feedback, anything that you want us to know, or any ideas you might have for us to look at for the future, you can send me an email, podcast, podcast, at thewickedwild.com. Anything else? Did I miss anything? Anybody else have anything to promote? Anything else exciting going on?
Keep your eyes to the skies, people.
Keep your eyes to the skies.
The end is nigh.
So as we always say when we finish up one of these episodes, and especially at the end of a Camp Wicked Wild month, we hope that you'll get yourself out there and get lost, because it may be the only place you can find yourself.